I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 55 of Tales from Godric's Hollow, the #1 Harry Potter podcast, according to the Quibbler. I've read it myself. Trust me. I am one of your hosts. I am the muggle of the show. I am Josh Brown, and I am joined by the third best Ravenclaw that I know, the Professor, Matt Sonnenberg. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Josh.
How are you?
Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
If I'm third, I can give you one for sure. I'm wondering about two.
#1, with a bullet, thanks to this week's reading, has to go to Luna Lovegood.
Okay.
#2, you know what? You may actually be fourth now that I think about it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Should just left it at 3.
Yeah. Cho Chang. I'm impressed by her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a solid #2. #3, though, Matt. It's between you and another professor.
Okay.
I don't know enough about the other potential #3 Ravenclaw to make that determination quite yet. So I'll keep you at #3 right now.
Okay. I appreciate that.
But if for some reason you become really good at Quidditch or really quirky in some unusual ways I'm not quite understanding of yet, you could bump up to that 1 or 2 seed.
All right. Fair enough. I accept. I mostly accept that you finally accept that Ravenclaw exists. So.
Well, we have more than a couple, and that's all I've needed, Matt.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm still skeptical that you are a Ravenclaw. I think the Sorting Hat actually got that wrong. I stand by that, but I have to take it, for what it says. Who am I to argue? But that doubt is still in my mind. Not gonna lie.
I understand.
Yeah, but now we have more than a couple Ravenclaws. We have a handful, a small handful, albeit, but a handful nonetheless. And I'm excited. I'm excited to finally embrace the long-lost, mysterious House of Ravenclaw.
All right.
Words I never thought I'd say on this podcast, Matt. It only took almost a year.
It's true.
4 books and some change to get here, but we made it.
We did. And it's worth the wait.
What a journey, Matt. Speaking of almost a year, our 1-year anniversary / Harry Potter's birthday, I'll let you guys decide which one's more important, is happening in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, Matt. July 31st.
You got it.
We recorded and not recorded, but released our very first episode.
No, actually, we recorded.
Did we record it? Okay, and it came out August 1st?
Yep.
Okay, we recorded our very first episode. Coincidentally, happened to be on Harry Potter's birthday. And we are going to be celebrating in a fun and mysterious way or two. Next week, we will have full details on what's going on. But just want to remind people, it's coming up. This is the middle of summer, the dog days of summer. People are out and about doing their thing, vacationing on their holiday, if that's what you call it. I mean, some people are buckling down for winter. Whatever season it is that you're listening to this podcast, I just know that sometimes dates get away from you, especially when we go 1 week at a time. So here's your friendly reminder. In 2 weeks, we'll be celebrating. Next week, we'll let you know exactly what we're doing, what to expect, how you could be a part of it. But it should be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
I hope so.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Other than that, Matt, it's been a fairly quiet week in the world of Harry Potter. I think. I don't keep track of this. Like, nobody has sent me any random messages about any big news regarding things that I would care about. So
sure.
I don't know. if it's been a quiet week in the wizarding world, to be honest. I just assume it is. If it's not, then everybody's just keeping a giant secret from me, which wouldn't be the first time and won't be the last time.
Also true. Yes, yes.
So something could have completely passed me by, and I wouldn't have even known it. But I seem to think that it's been a quiet week.
From your perspective, sure.
Yeah. Perfect. That's the only perspective that matters right now on this podcast, Matt.
Fair enough.
Only because you guys are catering to me and my inability to engage in full conversation with things.
Yes, everybody's here to please the Muggle at the moment.
And I thank you all for that. One day, I will be able to say thank you properly to everybody out there. And we could all celebrate and hug and talk Harry Potter till our ears fall off together without worries of spoilers. But in the year 2020, when we get to that point, then that'll be cause for celebration. But until then, here we are, tight-lipped and moving forward. 2 chapters at a time.
You got it.
This week we read chapters 10 and 11 of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. We will be breaking those down. I will say, a little heads up, to get ready for this discussion, Matt. I'm excited to talk about these 2 chapters.
That's good.
Now,
I haven't necessarily heard that in a while.
No, they weren't the most exciting of chapters.
Yep.
But they were fascinating in so many ways.
That's good.
My mind was racing all over the place in so many different directions. Like, I wasn't getting the anxiety and the stress and the buildup of, like, action-packed sequences. But we met some new characters. We got some new information. We got confused by some new information. A lot of things going on, but ultimately, we made it back to Hogwarts, and I look forward to this week. Every book. So,
yep.
I'm in good spirits. I think we're going to have a great discussion about those 2 chapters. We do have a lot to talk about. I assume people wrote in with some fantastic emails, as always. I'm looking forward to those.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing I want to do first, before we get started, Matt, it's something that we do every week, and that's give away something cool and fun.
All right. We should do that.
What is the giveaway this week, Matt?
This week we were giving away the Voldemort pin.
P-I-N.
P-I-N.
Just for clarification out there, folks.
I know.
A Voldemort pin, a Voldy pin, if you will. It's really cool. It's going to be an awesome little prize for somebody to take home and use how they see fit. I'm very curious what somebody does with a Voldy pin,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you just, like, prominently wear that. Like, unless you're Slytherin. I just don't know, why you would be super excited to be wearing that out in public. But there's Death Eaters out there,
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of things you can do with it.
hiding amongst us, so who knows? Matt, how did people enter this giveaway that we have this week?
This week you had them, oddly enough, drawing their worst fear.
The Boggarts.
Yes.
Interesting. Did you say you were going to participate in this as well?
I did not.
I seem to think you did, but maybe I'm misremembering.
No, I think that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's possible. Maybe I was just hoping you would. Did you surprise me?
No.
Oh.
I might be able to pull something out this week, though. We'll see.
Sure. Well, let's go ahead and choose somebody that did submit. Of course, everybody sent in an email to talesfromgodric's@gmail.com with a little picture, a sketch, an artist rendition, if you will, of what their greatest fears would be if they were to encounter a Boggart. And Matt, I'm just going to cut right to it. I'm not even going to ask you. I'm just going to go with how many Ravenclaw I know exist in this world. And that's 4.
All right. 4?
Also, somebody's going to correct me and they're going to say there's more Ravenclaw or you already know about more Ravenclaw. I don't remember anybody else. So that's the only number that's coming to my mind.
All right. That'll give us Matthew.
Matthew.
This is not me.
Matthew.
Not me.
When's the last time you went by Matthew?
I'm pretty sure you've referred to me as Matthew a few times, but
Yeah. When's the last time you went by Matthew by choice? Some
possibly
official
never.
paperwork?
Yeah.
Selling a house, maybe?
Yeah, there may have been some cases where, yeah, they typed it out that way, so I had to sign it that way or something like that. And it's like, fine.
Well, you may not like Matthew, but the winner definitely goes by Matthew, so congratulations, Matthew. What did Matthew draw? What's Matthew's greatest fear? I need this information for no real reason. Just my own, personal interest.
Well, his boggart would look like a spider snake.
That sounds frightening.
Yep, definitely.
Is it like a snake with like 8 legs?
It's a spider with a snake tail.
Ooh, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's pretty horrible, Matthew. Why would you even be thinking of that kind of stuff?
Well, what's even worse is he sent along well, I'm gonna go. Someone photoshopped one, like a live animal Photoshop.
Oh no, that's horrible.
Yeah, that's kind of frightening.
Oh, I don't need to see that. You don't need to send that my way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it'll probably be in the show notes this week in
That's
case
fair.
anybody does want to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Once again, the show notes for this episode can be found at talesfromgodric's.com/055. Because I know a lot of people are listening to this on the road, on the go, and it's hard to remember these things and write things down. So
Yeah.
there you go, all in one place.
Sure. Show notes. You're killing it. I love it.
I like to hear that.
Yeah, I think they're fantastic, and I hope everybody else is enjoying the work that you put into those as well. So, congratulations, Matthew. Everybody else, thank you for participating. Matt, I expect a full list of what everybody's greatest fears are and their home addresses, so that no reasons, just curiosity. I would definitely never want to send boggarts their way.
That'd be interesting. Can you send a boggart through the mail?
I feel like it could, right?
I suppose if you could get it into a box.
Yeah.
That
I
could
guess it would
probably be a
depend
thing.
what form it would take when you were encountering it. Like, if it's something big, I don't know how you're going to get it into a box, right? So your greatest fear would have to be
possibly,
something
yeah.
small. Like, I'm afraid
Yeah.
of marbles.
Well, I mean, when you use the spell, the ridiculous spell, like you see Lupin, he always would change like the moon into a balloon. At least in the movie, he changed the moon into a balloon and shoved it back into the cabinet.
Right.
So
That's true. Can you influence, like, even if you have, like, a greatest fear, like, if you concentrate hard enough, can you make it be something else? Like, I'm thinking, like, Ghostbusters, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, like, that was the first thing that popped into your mind?
Yeah, I don't think you can influence what form it will take, the greatest fear part, but you can definitely influence what you can change it into with with the spell.
Sure. The ridiculous.
Because that's the whole point he makes with Neville when he's showing him how to use it. It's
Right,
like,
with
okay,
Snape.
picture this. Yeah.
Huh. Like, I'm just wondering, like, if you concentrated just, like, really hard and you just kept saying over and over,
I really don't think so.
I'm afraid of teddy bears. I'm afraid of teddy bears.
Like that's the power of the boggart, I think, is that he can read past all of that.
Man, could you imagine that ability, though, to outsmart a boggart without, like, having to actually combat it?
Yes.
Man, the amount of galleons that you could make with that service that you could offer. Unbelievable.
I'm sure.
Anyway, I'm getting way too into fan fiction here, so gonna straighten this ship out a bit. Again, thank you to everybody that participated. That was a lot of fun. Matt will be in touch with you about your Voldy pin, and I'm very curious, Matthew. Like, once you get it, I need to know what you're gonna do with this thing. I need to know. Are you putting it on a backpack? Are you going to bury it in a sock drawer and hope to never see it again? Like, what are you going to do?
Like, I kind of picture it going like on the inside of the robes, and kind of keeping it hidden.
Yeah.
But,
But like, if somebody finds that, like, you're busted. You know?
Well, sure. It's not going to be any different than like someone finding a dark mark on your arm.
I guess not. Do people have those? Do people have dark mark tattoos? There has to be people, right?
Absolutely, there are.
Man, that weird triangle symbol, I know people get tattooed, so that might be bad for all I know. Who knows? Interesting. Okay, well, stay tuned for the end of the show. As always, we have another great giveaway. This one is going to be a lot of fun, especially what you could win. It will be directly correlated to our reading this week, which is always fantastic. And, yeah. Question.
Yeah.
We did a giveaway a few weeks ago.
We did, yes.
A mysterious giveaway that we were not able to talk about publicly. Well, to me, at least.
Okay.
About a Funko figure.
Yeah. The Funko Rock Candy figure. Yep.
By chance, was that a Luna Lovegood?
100% it was.
Oh, that's fantastic. Because I remember people saying, like, just wait, like, you'll be able to know soon. And it was either, I feel like it was going to be Umbridge or Luna Lovegood, but I didn't think people would be particularly super stoked about an Umbridge pop figure, but I could be wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe it's a creature. I don't know.
Except you've known about Creature for a few weeks already, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, that's exciting. Luna Lovegood. She's special, isn't she?
Oh yeah. You'll get to know her.
I hope so. I'm excited. Again, end of the show. We'll be doing a giveaway. We have emails coming up. We have the Muggle poll to talk about. But I feel like we need to get to the part that everybody came to listen to, Matt, and that's us dissecting these two chapters of this week's reading. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, chapters 10 and 11.
All right. Chapter 10. You already mentioned her a couple of times. Luna Lovegood.
Mm-hmm.
Another kind of odd chapter title because, once again, doesn't follow the standard format that we've become accustomed to. The blank. Yeah. The Luna Lovegood. Okay.
I feel like this could have been labeled The Looney and would have been interesting. It would have worked. And fit well.
Yep. Yes. In any case, so our new characters, you have to imagine we have the one and only Luna Lovegood.
Yeah.
We also have mentions or sightings of Anthony Goldstein, Doris Perkis, and Stubby Boardman.
The Stubby Boardman one I recall. The other two, I am not remembering where those came from.
All right.
They're definitely not names that I paid attention to for whatever reason. I know that doesn't surprise you at all, Matt.
Yeah, the Doris Perkis is... well, you remember Stubby Boardman, right?
Oh, was she the lady that was interviewed?
Yeah, she was the one who kind of gave the Stubby Boardman name.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Anthony, I'm not as surprised that you missed it, but he... well, surprise, is Ravenclaw.
When was he named? I don't even remember.
Oh, he's one of the prefects.
Oh, right.
After they came back from the prefect carriage,
Ron
they were
and
talking
Hermione.
about,
Yeah.
Yep, they were mentioning all the prefects from the different.
Okay.
names.
Val ran through those pretty quickly, and
well, you see, and most of the names we already knew.
Yeah, I sat there.
We knew the two Slytherins, we knew the two Hufflepuffs,
mm-hmm.
and we knew one of the Ravenclaws.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the only new name.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of sat there with a blank look on my face because I was pretty sure all those names sounded familiar, but then, yeah, it just kind of got away from me, so.
Yeah.
This is why, folks, I only know 4 Ravenclaw. Because I don't listen.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, new characters, new friends. I like this. Stubby Boardman. That's gonna be fun to talk about. But yeah, I mean, clearly the highlight of this chapter was Luna Lovegood herself, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah. As soon as we started, Val just looked at me. She goes, "You're gonna like this chapter." I'm like, "Okay, let's do this." Before we get there, though, Harry Potter had another unusual dream.
He did.
Right now,
Yeah.
I will say, I don't normally stop Val when she's reading, but about 4 sentences in, I had to stop her like immediately. Like I put the brakes on it. And I was like, "Are you reading chapter 10 right now?" She was like, "Yeah." And I said, "I don't remember Creature being dead."
Yep.
And she's like, "It's a dream." I'm like, "What? When did we establish we're in a dream right now?" Like, I'm pretty sure the end of the last chapter, like, was all Mrs. Weasley and, like, how distressed she was and, like, Harry kind of, like, reevaluating his entire life type of thing. And suddenly now we're talking about Creature being dead. I'm like, I think we skipped a chapter somewhere because I don't remember anyone taking down Creature unless I was really not paying attention last week. And she goes, "No, I literally just said Harry Potter was dreaming." I don't know. I don't know if it was the way it was written or me just being excited for like the title of the chapter and already thinking about who or what Luna Lovegood was.
Sure. I could see all of the above.
It just blew right past me though, man.
The first 2 lines are Harry had a troubled night's sleep. His parents wove in and out of his dreams, never speaking. And then she just goes on to describe the dreams, which is Creature's dead body. And
Mrs. Weasley crying. I'm like, well, yeah, she was crying already. And then Creature's dead body. I'm like, whoa, hold on. What happened?
My biggest thing is who would cry over Creature's dead body?
Yeah, that was weird.
I mean, I don't even think Hermione would go that far. So
right. So I don't know. It was a very unusual start to the chapter, right off the bat. And I'm sure everybody that's read it 1,000 times, like, just flew right through it, and it was no big deal. But I immediately panicked because I figured we missed something, or that I was also kind of concerned that Creature was just dead all of a sudden. Like, I know he's old, he's getting up there, but I expect his death to be, I don't know, maybe a little bit more fanfare than just, he's dead, move on.
Yep, publicized a little more.
A little bit. What do I know? What do I know about house elf deaths? I mean, there's heads stuffed on the wall, so very confusing, man. Very confusing.
Well, I'm glad we got that cleared up.
Yes. So the kids are scrambling to get ready. They have to go to the train station. The guard is going to be escorting them. Well, Harry, but by extension, them as well.
Since they're all leaving from the same place and going to the same place.
Yeah. I mean, the other kids are fine. Nobody's going to attack them. But Harry, we got to make sure he's safe, you know? Now I have a question.
Okay.
So Sirius turns into Snuffles.
Yep.
And he goes with him, despite objections all around from everybody, pretty much.
Yeah, Dumbledore, Mrs. Weasley,
Yeah. I'm surprised Mad-Eye let him get away with it, but at the same time, I think Mad-Eye is more concerned with, like, bigger issues.
Keeping Harry safe, yeah.
Yeah. So, everybody's a little concerned about this. Hermione, Ron doesn't care. Ron's like, whatever. Harry's going with it, but I liked the description of him, like, chasing after squirrels and birds and, like, just running around like a crazy dog that hasn't been outside in a while, right?
Yep.
I could totally picture this happening. My question, how much of, like, the animal traits do the wizards and witches that transform into the animals actually take on? Because they're still their consciousness and their personality that they are as people, as humans. But how much of, like, the animal traits do they actually inherit? Like, I can't see Sirius actually as Sirius running around and chasing birds and squirrels. Like, that's totally a dog thing to do.
Yeah.
So, like, how does that mixture work? Is it clear at all? Is it ever described?
I don't think really in the books it's ever talked about to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I think we see him doing this, one, because, yeah, he wants to get rid of some energy that's been building up from the past months that he's been stuck inside.
Sure.
And two, he's trying to blend in as a dog.
I wondered that as well. What was it?
I think more so than anything, the witches and wizards that are transforming will take on characteristics of the animal they transform into, just to blend in. Okay,
so it's not like the dog brain is taking over in this circumstance, and he just can't resist birds all of a sudden.
No, because like it's not like we see with Lupin in his werewolf form, where
because that's not
takes over.
Something he could control.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, that's forced on him.
Sure.
Whereas this is them willingly changing over. It's kind of like when in the first book we saw McGonagall, change into a cat, and she sits on the windowsill.
Right.
It's like totally a cat thing to do.
Yeah.
But the only problem being, like, it's described as like sitting stiffer than any cat ever has, or something like that. Like, she is more likely than not, I think some of their human characteristics are going to leak over into their animal form than the other way around.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Sirius definitely doesn't want to be discovered to be anything but a big old black dog, so
yeah,
he's gonna go out of his way to
maybe he's trying to prove to them, it's like, see, I can just be out here and be a dog. I'll be fine. I can act like a dog.
Okay. No one will be the wiser to it.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know, like, because I was thinking about Lupin and, like, if there was some sort of, like, gray area between, like, well, it's not, like, inherently taking over, like, the animal's brain and characteristics and habits, but does some of that kind of leak over, or are they mainly adapting to that to try to blend in and look like the normal animal that they're representing? So,
sure.
Okay. Just something I was thinking about. Sturgis Podmore.
Yes.
Mentioned again.
Yes.
Absent again.
Also true.
Mad Eye is not pleased with this. And
no one really is, but
I feel like Mad Eye's taking it more personally than anybody else.
Sure.
I mean, he does still have his extra invisibility cloak. I assume.
Last we heard.
It was a brief little thing. Didn't seem important in the context of everything else going on. Yeah. But I made a note of it, Matt, because these are the little types of details that I'm starting to pick up on as being maybe a little bit more important than she wants us to believe. Now,
makes sense, yeah.
I don't know anything about the Sturgis Podmore character. I don't know why he's absent. I mean, there was a special note to be like, this is the second time he's been absent. Mad Eye's upset. He's going to report him to Dumbledore, blah, blah, blah. But, everything went fine. Everything went without a hitch. There wasn't no issues. Like, that was the end of the talk of Sturgis Podmore. But, I'm just saying it now. I'm just going to put a pin in it, because I feel like we're going to be circling back to this at some point.
All right.
We say goodbye to Tonks. Sad day.
Yeah, she's got to go for now.
Yeah. I mean, we barely knew her. And I hope we see her soon. I don't know how the guard is going to get wrapped back into the things at Hogwarts, because what happens at Hogwarts, like, usually stays at Hogwarts, and there isn't a lot of outside characters coming to Hogwarts.
I mean, well, we've seen a few.
A few, yeah, here and there.
Like, Voldemort pops in from time to time.
Sure.
In book 3, we had Sirius. In book 4, I mean, we kind of had Mad Eye, who's kind of become an outside character.
Ludo.
After...
Ludo popped up and some other characters.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is we just don't have I don't know how the Guard, this entire entity, is going to work back into Hogwarts in some way.
Sure.
I'm sure it will happen.
They've basically been Harry Potter's guard when Dumbledore's not around.
Right. But
And now
going
that
back
he's
to
in the same castle with Dumbledore, that's what they've always said. It's like the safest place for him. So
yeah, and since one thing that you've pointed out kind of from the beginning, and one thing I always look for is this is a story told from Harry Potter's perspective. So we only see
also true.
What Harry Potter sees. So yes. The Guard has to be interacting with Harry Potter for us to have any idea what the Guard is up to.
Yes.
So that's how I'm trying to figure out how this all... I just want to know when I see Tonks again, Matt. That's all I really want. I mean, that's all it comes down to, is me kind of being sad that Tonks isn't around for the foreseeable future.
Sure.
That's all.
All right.
But, out with one, in with the other. We lose Tonks. We get Luna Lovegood. I feel like it's a decent trade.
I accept.
Let's see. Yeah, Neville's back. Cool. Sure. Everything's good. Prefects are hanging out in their own prefect car on the train. Makes Harry a sad wizard. Jenny's there to keep him company.
Yeah, he kind of gets stuck with the, I don't know, misfits, leftovers, whatever. Not sure what you want to call this group, but it's kind of an odd... Like, okay, sure. Harry and Neville.
Yeah.
They've hung out before from time to time. Harry and Ginny, even. I mean, it's usually at the Burrow, or this year it was at Grimmauld Place, but...
Mm-hmm. Ginny and Neville went to the ball together. Like,
that's
they're
true.
not strangers.
Yeah, I mean, they're all Gryffindors.
But it's a strange combination.
Yeah, for just those people to be together in one place and no one else, it's a little odd. It's kind of, it almost feels like you, I don't know, went to a wedding or something, mm-hmm. and someone introduced you to someone across the table, and then they left.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, so I know your name, but hi.
Yeah. We kind of don't know each other, but now we're just going to sit here awkwardly until our people return.
Yes.
Weddings. They're always good for that, aren't they? Making people awkward since forever.
Yes.
So it's not just the trio, though. Like, this new trio, the trio remix, if you will. We get a fourth character introduced to this ragtag group of misfits, as you labeled them. Yes.
We get the wonderful Luna Lovegood.
The misfit of all misfits, maybe?
Something like that. I've already labeled my favorite character in this series, so
yeah,
she comes in at a very, very, very close second.
Sure. Right off the bat, I'm intrigued and fascinated by this girl.
That's good.
They call her Looney, and that threw me off because I thought Val misread it the first time, and I was like, I'm pretty sure her name is Luna, but Val just said Looney. That's weird.
Yeah, Jenny definitely refers to her as Looney the first time, but that's when they're still like outside the car with the door closed.
Right.
I'm like, you can't say that to her face. But
that's why I thought it was like just a misread of it, and then it happened again later. I'm like, okay, they're actually calling her Looney. All right.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But at that point, then it kind of made sense after we knew who she was.
Yeah, when you when you hang out with her for 5 minutes, you understand.
So let's talk about this girl, huh? Boy, she's a Ravenclaw.
She is.
She stashes her wand behind her ear.
She does.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I can't help but wonder if Mad Eye would approve of this wand storage solution or not.
Well, since he doesn't approve of the back pocket,
Right.
I'm guessing probably not.
No, but I feel like it's like easy to grab in a pinch. Like it's
Yeah.
right then and there. Like I don't know what his issue is other than it being safe. Like is that considered a safe place? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's probably safer than a back pocket in case of a misfire, but
Sure.
yeah, still probably not preferred.
Yeah. She has a necklace made of butterbeer caps
That's always a good sign.
because of course, she does. She's reading a magazine, The Quibbler, upside down
Yep.
because of course she does. And I'm just like, this description of this girl is just kind of mind-blowing right now. Like, this is unlike any character we've met at this point at Hogwarts. Just
Most
clearly
definitely.
marching to the beat of her own drum.
Yeah.
And then I had this revelation, Matt.
Yeah.
And I had to take a step back mentally from what I was thinking because it was starting to distort how I was looking at Luna Lovegood. And I don't know if it was the voice that Val was reading when she was reading Luna's part or not. But I was getting a very distinct Trelawney vibe from this girl.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just kind of like she doesn't seem to care what anybody else thinks of her.
Very much. Yes, she's extremely straightforward.
And that's how Trelawney is. Like, Trelawney doesn't care what the professor, what the students, what anybody else thinks about her and what she's teaching, because in her head, she's completely 100% logical.
Yeah, I mean, she speaks her piece and just goes on with it.
And
Like you said, it doesn't care what anybody else thinks about who she is or what she has to say. She's just doing her own thing. And I made a note later on. I think it's next chapter even that they use the word unfazed.
Yeah.
To describing Luna,
Mhm.
and I'm like that's perfect.
Yeah.
She's just unfazed by anything.
Yeah. All she's concerned with is like her own space and what she's doing at her moment, and like that's it. That's all she needs. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was just getting this very heavy Trelawney vibe from her. Like I don't know what house Trelawney would fall into. I don't know if that's been said or not. And I don't know if this is like a Ravenclaw thing. Like Cho Chang didn't seem to be like this type of like eccentricness. Luna is she's just an odd duckling, and I can't help but love her for it, you know?
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Except when I start thinking about Trelawney, I'm just like, does she have anything to do with Trelawney? Like, she's gonna drive me crazy if that's gonna be the case. So,
Well, I'll throw this out there.
Okay.
Trelawney, it's not mentioned in the books,
okay.
but J.K. has told us that Trelawney is a Ravenclaw as well.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I have no idea what that means, but I knew it. It felt right.
All right.
But yeah, Luna, she's just her own person, and I can't wait to know more about her.
That's good.
We learn a little bit more by talking to her, especially going into the next chapter. Briefly at the beginning of the next chapter, but just one of the most, probably since Mad Eye, the most fascinating character that they've introduced.
I can see that. Yeah.
You know, like even Tonks. Tonks has a special place in my heart already, Matt. But like, she doesn't hold a candle to how just interesting. Interesting is the only word I could think of. Interesting, Luna Lovegood is.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because honestly, like knowing you and your personality and the things you tend to like, like Luna is definitely a character I think you would like.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad to hear that you're interested.
Yeah. Yeah. She got me right away. That's for sure. I'm not sure Harry thinks the same way. Jenny is cautious of her, I think. You know, she doesn't dislike her. She seems to want to not, maybe just keep her distance, you know?
Well, okay, so just to clarify,
Yeah.
Luna is a fourth year.
Fourth year, correct.
So she's not in Harry's class.
Right.
This is why we haven't really had many run-ins with her before.
Right.
But she is in Ginny's class.
Right.
And so I think Ginny's perspective on this is kind of the status quo. She doesn't want to go against the grain. She's just kind of, you know, this is what everybody thinks about her. This is how people react to her. And so when I introduce you to her, that's how I'm going to...
Sure.
That's where her mindset is coming from.
Yeah.
That's just what the I guess the hive mind of the other fourth years, how they see Luna.
Right. Which makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I know Harry, like, this is his first time meeting her, but he's kind of, I don't know, like, he's already in a grumpy mood, because Ron and Hermione aren't there.
Yep.
So I think it wasn't fair for him. It wasn't fair to expect him to be super welcoming to, like, meeting a new person and possibly a new friends. Like, he just seemed kind of, I don't know, not weirded out, but just cautious. Like, I don't know about this girl, you know?
I think it would have been a completely different scenario if, well, either Ron or Hermione had been there.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't want to be mean to her, but
yeah,
he doesn't want to be, he's not making any effort to be friendly either.
Yeah. Like you said, he's just not himself right now.
Grumpy Harry Potter. Neville has a weird plant. We're going to talk about Luna more, definitely. But
sure.
Neville has a weird plant.
Yep.
Couldn't even begin to tell you what it was called. But it was a very long and awkward name for a plant.
Yeah, it's one of those I just kind of gloss over when I read it.
Yeah.
It's like Mimbulus Mimbletonia.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, has a really gross defense mechanism.
Yes. And good for comedic effect, but really, Neville, come on.
Right.
You should have known what was going to happen. Well, I mean, I guess he did know what was going to happen.
Just not to that extent.
Yeah, larger than he expected.
Right. I don't know.
I mean, it was this tiny little plant that he was holding in his hand.
Yeah.
That I think he pulled out of his robes.
Right.
Like, I guess I wouldn't have expected that big of a, I guess, explosion. It wasn't really an explosion, but, you know, that big an effect.
Yeah.
To come from it.
Well.
But it's definitely a good defense mechanism.
Sure. I mean, it'd keep me away from that thing. I'd never go near it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, gross little plant. Just gross. But, you know, it kind of fits Neville and his personality, and like this, none of it seemed out of the ordinary at all.
Oh, yeah. It fit him very well.
Cho Chang made her return, and she's now as awkward as Harry used to be with her.
Yep.
I mean, I guess winning the Triwizard Tournament does that to a guy, but you know, he turned the ball back in his court, I guess, and yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with this possible budding romance, friendship, something, you know?
Yep. Got a long way to go. Plenty of time to figure that out.
Yeah, and I don't know how invested she was in Cedric. Sad. Man, it's still hard to say his name, Matt. You know, she went to the ball with him. Seemed to have a good time. But there was definitely, like, those hints that she was still kind of interested in Harry.
Well, yeah, like she said, she would have gone with Harry, but she had already said yes to Cedric. That was really the only reason why they didn't go together.
Right. But it didn't seem like she regretted going with Cedric. You know, she didn't have a bad time.
No. Yeah.
Which, things happen, and who's to say she didn't fall for him? And so I don't know where she's at with all that. I mean,
fair enough.
It's only been a couple months here, so. But now she can't talk to Harry, and this is going to be weird because I'm not sure that Harry can still talk to her, like regardless of how awkward she is with him.
Well, regardless of where they're at, this is just a bad situation for everybody.
Again, Harry's in no mood to be friendly to people.
Yeah. And then he's covered in stink sap.
Yeah. Just bad all the way around. And to make matters worse, we find out Malfoy is a prefect. Because of course Malfoy is a prefect.
Yep.
I mean, that was going to happen, right?
Pretty much, yeah. There's no other character who's been I mean, they're not going to make Crabbe or Goyle a prefect. That'd just be weird.
Yeah, Malfoy is a leader, and for better or for worse, like that fits who he is. Yeah,
if you had to choose someone from that fifth-year Slytherin class,
right,
to exemplify those characteristics, he's the closest.
Sure, unless there's another Slytherin out there that we don't know about. But I mean, for argument's sake, this was bound to happen, I guess.
Yes.
So they start checking out this magazine that our dear friend Luna Lovegood is reading upside down.
Yep.
It's called The Quibbler. And turns out The Quibbler is pretty much like the National Enquirer of the Muggle world.
That's probably a pretty good comparison.
Like, it's quite evident from the start that these articles and stories may not be on the up and up as well as people hope they would be.
Yeah.
Starting with Sirius Black being an innocent singing sensation.
Yeah. Because we, as readers, at least I felt that we have a pretty good idea of Sirius's background.
Yes.
And we've heard it from Sirius's point of view even.
Right.
But like the events of that day. So we have no reason to believe, like, what?
Also, like,
innocent singer? What? Huh?
I feel like that would have come up in conversation either with Sirius, with Dumbledore, with somebody, with Lupin, with
like
Mad Eye,
Yep. In some article previous to this, like, former singing sensation Sirius Black, or Stubby Boardman, was arrested today. Like,
sure,
that would be a big deal.
Yeah. Was he a singing sensation just for the Wizarding world? Like, would Muggles have known about his musical talents? Like, if that's the case, when they had, the news running for him, like, wouldn't have somebody noticed that he was maybe like a singing sensation? Like,
Sure.
All of it was very confusing. And as we dug a little bit deeper into the Quibbler, it became very apparent that there's a lot of hogwash going on in that thing.
That would seem to be the case.
But yeah, as you mentioned, Sirius Black being pronounced to be a fake name, a pseudonym, for his real identity, Stubby Boardman, the singer from the Hobgoblins.
Such a great name, though.
Are the Hobgoblins a real band? This is what I want to
know. In the Wizarding world, I believe they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to know more about the Hobgoblins. And does the Stubby Boardman character actually look like Sirius Black? Like, how far are they stretching the story?
Yeah. It's... I don't think it's ever really made super clear. Like, he, as far as I know, the hobgoblins are a real thing. Stubby Boardman, I believe, is a real person,
Right.
who led the band. But as to why anyone would actually believe, I mean, I guess in the wizarding world, you can change your identity. I mean, you can change what you look like.
Sure.
We've seen Sirius himself can change into a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Tonks, who what we saw at the beginning of this chapter. She looked, I believe, like an old lady.
Right. Right.
So, what's to say if this is in the wizarding world, like we were saying, that he couldn't look different
Sure.
when he was Stubby Boardman?
Yeah. Fascinating. I don't know. Like, it was weird to hear somebody speak positively about Sirius Black.
Sure.
You know, because all we've heard from everybody else, with the exception of the people in the Order of the Phoenix at this point, is that he's a wanted criminal for killing several people all at once.
Oh yeah, because that's what the Ministry still believes.
Right,
so
right.
That's what the wizarding world at large believes.
Sure. And while we know that not to be true, that seems to be all we get hit over the head with is, like, Sirius Black, the wanted criminal, fugitive, on the run, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, wait, no, he's just this, iconic pop singer for the Hobgoblins.
Yeah.
Singing sensation himself. So it was just weird to get, like, a different, albeit very false, perspective on Sirius Black.
Very true.
We also got an article about Cornelius Fudge being the Goblin Crusher. And that's when I knew that this paper was a hoax, because I don't think Cornelius Fudge could crush anything. Like, not even a house elf, much less a goblin. Goblins seem like they got some fight to them.
Definitely. I would think so.
They're not going down, just laying down for anybody here. Like,
yep.
I don't think Fudge is the imposing threat that this article was making him out to be.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I'll bring up the Goblin Rebellions that you want to know more about. Like,
yes.
I don't think if the goblins just lay down, like, they're not going to be rebelling in the first place.
No. Yeah, so as much as I would like to pin Fudge as, like, this ultimate evil bad guy, which I still think he has some pretty bad intentions, but he's more manipulative and kind of like a whiny, petulant child, as opposed to this menacing threat that this article is making him out to be.
Fair enough.
But the Goblin Crusher is a solid name.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Good nickname.
Crushing
Good
goblins.
wrestling name or something like that.
God, that'd be so good. Man, crushing goblins. Be the most feared person in the land. So this magazine, this periodical, this tabloid, whatever this is definitely just a whole lot of baloney. And Hermione calls it out for it. She's like, "This is ridiculous. Why would anybody read this rubbish?" Well, it turns out Luna Lovegood's father is the editor of said rubbish.
Yep.
And she didn't take too kindly to those words.
No, not really.
Yeah.
She stands up for family, as most people would.
I mean, I have to think, being a Ravenclaw, that she knows that it's not real, right? Like, she knows what it is.
Sure.
But, like, I feel like she probably gets what some people do, and that's, like, the entertainment value of it. Like, there are people that buy the National Enquirer because it's funny.
Yeah, there's a reason that it's still around. It still sells. Like,
sadly, there are people that still take that to be actual, factual news.
Yes.
And I feel like the Quibbler is the same way, where people accept that to be accepted at face value and don't look past the absurdity of it all. But mostly people just kind of accept it for being entertainment, and that's it. So, real or fake, it's still entertainment, and to call it trash and worthless, like, it's still kind of degrading to the hard work that Mr. Lovegood, I assume is his name, puts into this publication.
Yeah.
I also can't stop thinking about what the National Enquirer means in the Men in Black universe. We talk about Men in Black way too much on this show.
I know.
However,
and as soon as, I mean, you brought National Enquirer up, I'm like, yeah, that there's going to be another Men in Black reference.
Yes, because they pick up the tabloids, the dirt sheets, the National Enquirers of the world, because why everybody else sees them as fake, like that is actually like the real news of the alien world, as crazy it is as it is. So then my brain starts flipping the switch of like, well, how does this work in the wizarding world? Like, what correlations do we have going on here? Like, does it work the same? I need to stop thinking about Men in Black. Maybe I just need to watch the movies to get it out of my system. I don't know. But they keep mixing up in weird ways, Matt, that I don't expect until they do.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it's pretty fantastic.
If we get to a point where we have a giant cockroach asking for sugar water, I'm losing it. I don't know what to do at that point.
All right.
So Luna's, I don't want to say upset, because she doesn't strike me as the type of person that's just going to be huffy and emotional and upset about things, but she's just like, you know what? I'm just going to continue reading this and ignore all you guys because whatever. I'm Luna Lovegood, you know?
Yep.
Like, she didn't seem... She didn't argue with it. You know, she didn't try to put up a fight or defend it in any way, like, other than, hey, you're throwing shade at my dad. That's not cool, but I'm going to move on with my life.
Yeah, I mean, she's putting the words, you know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me.
Right.
I mean, right there. That it's like, okay, that, you know, it wasn't really nice of you to say that, but
right.
Yeah.
It made Hermione feel worse about what she said than anything else that Luna could have said would have done.
Yes.
And I think that was most important.
Yep.
Let's see here. Malfoy.
Okay.
He comes in. Or did you have something before Malfoy?
I was just going to say, before we get too far from it, I did want to point out that, I mean, it's one sentence thing again, but it jumped out at me this time through, that Ginny is actually learning her magic quite well.
Yes.
Because she just went in there and cleaned up all the stink sap.
Mm-hmm.
Lickety split.
Right.
And that's a spell, I believe. I was trying to remember back if we've actually seen Hermione use it. I'm almost certain we've seen Mrs. Weasley use it. Regardless, the two women that she spends the most time with,
right,
are like she's picked up a few things, I think, and it's not like we've seen from Ron or Neville or anything like that who struggle with spells. It's just like, oh, she went in very confident, and it's like, don't worry, I'll clean this up, and it worked.
Right.
There was no backlash or anything. So I think that was a nice note to see that. Yeah, she knows what she's doing too. She's only a year younger, so she's been learning as well.
Yeah, we do know Ron's struggles. The twins, I feel like they're decent. Like they're not stand out at what they do, but they don't seem to struggle much.
Yeah, slightly above average.
But like I think her biggest influence, like, you know, other than her mom, I think is Hermione, and we don't know how much time Hermione and Ginny spend together away from, you know, Harry, because again, it's all from Harry's perspective. But
whether it be at school or something, it
does feel like they're friends, you know.
Yeah, we get the impression when they're at the Burrow and such, like they hang out a lot,
right? And that's a pretty good mentor for Ginny.
Yeah,
You know, Hermione knows her magic.
definitely.
So, yeah, no, that was an interesting thing, and a little tidbit about Ginny, who we're getting to know better this book than we have in the previous books altogether.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a few times. Like she keeps popping up. She's still hanging around, and like we're talking about her just about every week now.
Yeah, yeah, little bits here and there, nothing super important. She's not getting,
but a lot more than we used to.
Yeah, I mean, not getting kidnapped and almost killed at this point, but you know,
which is a good thing that
Yes.
doesn't happen every week.
Yeah, I will take this over the other any day.
And this week on Save Ginny.
Let's hope not. Doesn't get to that point. So Malfoy is still being Malfoy in all the worst ways. I really don't want to talk about this dude. I really don't. Like, he's obnoxious, and
I understand. Yeah,
everybody knows how awful he is.
He plays his role perfectly.
Yeah, he really does.
There's always got to be one, right?
Yep. And I feel like every train ride we need to run into him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he makes a point of. I mean, even more so now that he's a prefect and he can kind of rub it in and he has a little more power. But at the same time, like, he knows that they're going to be on the train. He knows he's going to have a captive audience. He can kind of. The professors aren't there to stop him.
Right.
The most we have, as we see more this year, is that the prefects are supposed to be kind of monitoring this behavior on the train.
Yep.
But that's easy enough to avoid, too.
Sure.
It's like, oh, prefect just went to the other car. Let's play around in this one.
Right. Do we know who the head boy and head girl are yet?
I do not think they've been mentioned for this year.
Okay. Just curious.
Yep.
Because, I mean, prefects punishing prefects seems difficult. Like, can you sentence a prefect to detention if you're a prefect? I probably not. And that's where, like, the head boy and head girl would come in, of, like, overseeing the prefects.
Exactly,
okay. So we don't know who that is yet, but Malfoy's going to get away with anything he wants until somebody stops him, which is awesome. That's just what I want. So we get the train finally stops. There's a call out to the first years. It's not Hagrid.
Nope.
It's not Hagrid. Professor Grubbly Plank is back.
She is?
Which I'm okay with, you know? Did I predict this, or did we talk about this? I was definitely felt like I was thinking about it at some point.
I believe this did work into one of your predictions somewhere.
Okay.
I mean, not specifically, you know, about this scene. It's like Hagrid wouldn't be there to welcome them off the train, but I think you did mention, you know, Hagrid's out on a mission and he'd be gone for a while.
Okay. And Grubbly Plank would step in.
Yeah.
And at this point, we don't know that she's actually taking over care of magical creatures. We find that out in the next chapter, but this was Hagrid's role.
Exactly.
She's filled in for Hagrid before when he hasn't been available, so this all kind of makes sense. I wasn't... the book, I felt, was trying to make you distressed and concerned that Hagrid wasn't there. At least the kids were.
And, well, I think that's kind of the way you have to take it. I think the biggest reason you weren't so distressed and I wasn't necessarily distressed is because that you have been talking about this for the past month or two. Like, yeah, Hagrid's not going to be there.
Right.
And so, like, you already had that in your head.
Yeah.
And, like, you've talked yourself into it. And so you're not expecting Hagrid to show up. So you weren't surprised when he didn't show up.
Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, once again, if you were just reading through this book, not splitting it up, not talking to someone every week about it, about every 2 chapters, like,
sure,
it might be a little bit more of a surprise. And once again, like I said, taking it from Harry's point of view, because Harry, okay, they did kind of know something about a mission, but they haven't really thought about it, put all the pieces together
Right.
as much as you have.
Yeah. When you first read this, do you remember if you were taken back at all by Hagrid not being there? Like,
Probably,
I know it's hard to go back.
Yeah. I guess I don't remember the exact instance. If I had to guess, I would say yes, I was.
Okay.
Just knowing the way I read and, well, kind of when I read this. Like,
so this was definitely written to have that kind of impact on people.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
This would have been like the first instance. It's like, oh, Hagrid's not here. What's going on?
Yeah. Because the students, I mean, the trio specifically, were super concerned about this.
Yep.
But yeah, I was just like, yeah, of course not. He's busy. He's doing half-giant things, you know?
Yep.
He's trying to mend that friendship with the giants, I assume. So
that's what you assume, yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, I'm not concerned. You know, I feel like if anything bad had happened to Hagrid, somebody in the guard would have known, especially considering Hagrid used to be in the Order of the Phoenix. Everybody knows him. Dumbledore's popping in and out occasionally. Like, he didn't really see Harry Potter at all, but, like, everybody knew how close Harry Potter was with Hagrid. I feel like if something bad had happened to him that we should be concerned about, Harry would have known by now.
You would hope so?
I would hope so.
But at the same time, like, if he's off doing this away from everybody else, how long would it be till they realized something was wrong and then found out what exactly did happen?
I feel like he's probably communicating with somebody while he's doing something.
Maybe.
I hope. That's what owls are for, Matt.
Yeah, but you saw all Mad Eye's warnings as they were leaving about
That's true.
You know, what they put in. Yeah. Basically, don't use the out. Like, if you have any question about it, don't write it. I'm like, okay, that's helpful.
Maybe he is just MIA out in the forest somewhere. Does he have, what's her name with him?
Madam... Yeah.
Her.
Once again, we don't know.
We don't know, Matt. All I know is that I'm not concerned.
All right.
I hope to not be wrong on that either. So, you know, that was the big reveal of the chapter, I guess. But I was just like, I brushed it off, no problem. I was more concerned about these nasty horse creature things.
Yeah?
Like, horse skeletons wrapped in, like, a black skin, but, like, it didn't seem to have, like, any sort of muscle or meat to them. And they had bat-like wings and frightening creatures being described here, pulling the carriages.
Yeah. Skeletal horses with reptilian skin. Yeah, it's
kind of like the horse version of a Dementor.
Well, thankfully they don't try to kiss you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like,
well,
you look like an apple, maybe you will.
Fair enough.
Yeah, just horrible things that are now pulling the carriages that used to be self-driven to the castle.
Yes, horseless carriages.
Well, were they horseless carriages? Because according to Luna Lovegood, and I thought this like seconds before Luna said it.
Yeah.
These horses have been here the whole time.
You think so?
That's what she says. That they've been pulling the carriages all the time. Like, they're not self-driven carriages. These are the creatures pulling these things. And she's been able to see them since day one. But no one else could see them until Harry, now, who could see them.
Okay.
And she throws out the, you know, when she reveals that she can see them too, she's like, don't worry, you're just as sane as me. I don't know if that's reassuring or not.
Exactly. That's like the fact that she says, don't worry. Yeah. It's like, no, that's what I am. That's exactly what I'm worried about. That's exactly what everybody should be worried about.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of these things, Matt. I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Have they been here this whole time? I mean, it would make having in my head. I want to say that having these things pulling these carriages every year makes more sense than the carriages just being self-driven.
Really though? I mean, like, I think a self-driven carriage is a lot more magical than a skeletal horse creature thing being pulling these carriages.
Yes, and like I can see where you're saying that, because then you would have to assume that nobody else could see them except very special individuals. Luna from day one, Harry. I'm sorry, I'm joking. Dementor's getting close. Very. Why does Harry just now see him? You know?
Yeah.
What's changed?
That would be the question.
And the only thing I kept thinking about, I'm not trying to figure out what's changed with Harry.
Okay.
But what I start associating them with is Muggles seeing Dementors. Like, we've already kind of gone down this road of creatures that exist but aren't necessarily seen by everybody.
Sure.
Dudley, Dementor. He knew something was there, some sort of presence, but couldn't see anything. All these kids don't see them, except these two. Why? I don't know.
Maybe it has something to do with Luna.
Being in Luna's presence? Because then, like, wouldn't, like, Jenny and Neville see them also at that point?
Unless she can control it.
Could she control it? That'd be a weird thing to do.
She can, like, project her imagination.
Why would she do that, though? Like, I don't. I feel like that's too dark and unsettling for someone like Luna to conjure up.
She's counterbalancing herself.
I feel like you're leading me astray, Matt. I don't know. I need to work out this theory here. And like, yeah, I don't know. She knows of Harry Potter.
Yes.
She's
I believe she stated, "You are Harry Potter."
Yeah, she's pretty in tune with the wonderful life of Harry Potter at this point. Like, I don't know if she's like that with everybody. Like, she's just very intuitive. But she definitely knows what's going on in Harry Potter's life. And that's kind of why I kept getting these Trelawney vibes. It's like, Trelawney acts the same way with Harry Potter that Luna does.
Well, the other thing we did see that she kind of went off on last chapter was when Ron came back to the car. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I know you. You went to the ball with Patil.
Yeah.
And she's like, she knew the whole background there. And it's like...
It didn't go well.
Yeah, it didn't go well. This is what she thinks of you. And
yeah.
Like, so, I mean, like...
Wasn't Patil a Ravenclaw?
Yeah.
Okay. So then at that point, I feel like that's more acceptable because, like, they're both Ravenclaw, so, like, things probably get discussed in the Ravenclaw common area.
Sure.
That seemed less intuitive and more gossipy than how she was treating Harry Potter. And maybe I was just reading too much into it. Maybe my tea leaves were misaligned today.
You need to go see Trelawney.
Nobody does, Matt, but I feel like she's going to be in this book. I just can't avoid it. So, yeah, weird mystery, bat horses, Harry's confused, Luna's far from confused. Or is she? I'm confused that she's not confused, I guess. Weird ending to the chapter.
Fair enough.
Which led us to chapter 11.
It did. Chapter 11, The Sorting Hat's New Song.
I'll tell you what, Matt.
Yeah?
Right off the bat, I was excited for this chapter.
You do enjoy yourself some Sorting Hat.
The previous chapter, I had to be told that I was going to like it. This
Sure.
one, I was like, yes, I'm ready for some Sorting Hat action.
All right.
It just means that we're back at Hogwarts officially, day one.
Yes. Last chapter was Hogwarts Express. We're on our way.
Yeah.
Now we're officially there.
Boom.
Two brief mentions of new first years because they always go A to Z, and so
Which
thankfully
confuses
there
me
were
every time.
there were kids in the class that have last names that start with A and Z, so we know we'd be started and ended.
Right.
Ewan Abercrombie and Rose Zeller.
I think what confuses me is that they're listed by last name first, last name, comma, first name.
Sure.
And
I suppose if you're not seeing it written too.
Exactly.
Yep.
Thankfully, Val says the comma.
I was gonna say, does she read it Zeller, comma, Rose?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If she just read Zeller Rose,
Yeah.
like that, yeah, it could get really weird real fast, especially in previous years when we have like longer lists of names. That like this year we just had the two names and like okay, we're not writing down a whole list of new characters. That's good.
So even like knowing that it's last name first and whatnot, like still not seeing them, it doesn't register completely, but I got through it.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, chapter 11, Matt.
We're here, back in the Great Hall, Sorting Hat.
Luna. Before we say goodbye to Luna, pretty much.
For these chapters, yeah.
For these chapters, I mean. Because this was about what was going on at the Gryffindor table, not the Ravenclaw table.
Yep.
Luna's not a fan of Hagrid. And neither are the entire House of Ravenclaw. According to Luna.
Yeah. If you look at it objectively, I'm guessing this opinion. I mean, I think it's safe to say Slytherins are not a fan of him.
I don't think Slytherins are a fan of anybody that's not Slytherin.
Sure, I'll give you that. But even Hufflepuff probably aren't real big fans either.
I feel like you're wrong there. I feel like Hufflepuff like everybody. Probably to a fault.
We see this once again, as you said, from Harry's point of view. We get to see it from Harry and the trio, who have very much befriended Hagrid more than any other students in this castle, I think.
Yeah.
So they have a very special relationship, and once again, they're gonna defend him like they would family.
Sure. And I get it. I know what it is. I know that Hagrid isn't probably the brightest crayon in the box. He has a big heart. He's very loving. He's a very, very special half giant. But like intellectually speaking, I'm sure he does not challenge the Ravenclaw students as much as they would want from their professors.
That would also be a very good point.
So I don't feel like it's a personal attack on Hagrid. Like if they were looking at it as, he's a good guy, he's never done us wrong, like he may put us in danger sometimes with blasting his scroots, but for the most part, like he's not out to hurt us in any way, maliciously, or intentionally. I'm sure they accept all that, but like they want to be challenged and pushed from the intellectual side as much as possible. They want to learn. I don't know why Hermione's not a Ravenclaw, to be honest with you, because like it just seems from what I know of them, they thrive and they thirst for education.
Yeah.
And they could probably learn more from textbooks about these creatures that Hagrid's teaching them than what he is, because he's teaching them like real world application on how to handle these creatures, and they're more concerned with like the genealogy and the genomes and like the DNA and like the very scientific specific details of the creatures. And he's just like, look, you gotta bow to hippogriffs or they're going to be upset, you know?
Yeah.
And that's very useful, but like to a Ravenclaw, you're just like, but tell me why.
Yes.
You know?
And I mean, to be perfectly honest, I would say going into it, if Hagrid was the only teacher they had for that subject, they might not, like, without the comparison, like once they had last year had Grubbly Plank when Hagrid was gone, like they instantly have something to compare it to.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, of course, Hagrid seems like the worst teacher then.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. It irked me a little bit. But I'm just like, I had to look at it from a rational point of view. And like you said, like, stop being objective and biased from my Gryffindor standpoint that the book's written from.
Yep. And once again, take Luna's character. What little you know of her character.
Uh-huh.
I mean, just she's going to be straightforward about things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like she's not sugarcoating anything.
No.
But I mean, the saying goes the other way. Like, people can give it straight to her, and she'll take it.
I don't think she has a filter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like she just spouts facts.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about tact. It's like, these are the facts I know. But like that caught me most when she was talking to Ron. It's like she just kept going, like 2 paragraphs worth of like, this is what I know. These are the facts.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she was done.
Right.
Like, wasn't looking for a conversation or anything at all.
No.
It's just like, this, heard him talking about a certain situation. It's like, oh, this is what I know, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Back to my magazine.
Right. Emotions don't factor into what she says or what other people say to her.
Yeah.
She's gonna be a fun one, I could tell.
It's good.
Somebody who may not be too fun.
Yeah.
Is this lady that's dressed in a heck of a lot of pink, Matt.
That's a lot of pink.
That's a whole lot of pink. Dolores Umbridge.
You got it.
Boy. And I'm thinking, why is she sitting up there with the other professors? Obviously, she's at Hogwarts for a reason. We know her from the hearing that Harry Potter had to participate in at the Ministry of Magic.
Yep.
So she's not a new character. We know that we already should be a little weary of her, but now she's in Hogwarts. She's sitting at the table with the other professors. And immediately, I just know. She's going to be the new professor of the dark arts. Defense against the dark arts, I should say.
There you go.
Yeah. The other one would be very weird if she taught that.
We're at the wrong school for that one.
Yeah. Defense against the dark arts. And I have mixed feelings about this, Matt.
Yeah?
1.
Okay.
We already know that she's pretty unlikable.
That seems to be the case.
2. She's very much part of the Ministry of Magic, and she believes the Ministry of Magic is more important than anything else.
I think you made that point. Was that just last week that, she was brought in to be Fudge's yes man?
Yes, exactly.
So that, yeah.
3. This means that the Ministry of Magic now has influence inside of Hogwarts where they previously had no influence.
Pretty much. Dumbledore was usually quite quick to remind Fudge of that fact.
Mm-hmm.
A couple times this year already.
So now that has drastically changed. Now, we don't know how she got this job. We don't know why she's there. I could still only assume that Fudge had something to do with this. I don't think Dumbledore willingly brought her in. I could be wrong. We just don't know yet.
Well, you've questioned his hiring decisions before. So.
That's true. But this one would take the cake, Matt. Like, this one would literally put me over the edge as far as never trusting anyone he hires ever again.
All right.
But here's another thing that makes me conflicted with how to feel about this revelation. I might have actually predicted that we were going to get not just a brand new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, but for the first time in our reading, a female Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Yeah, that in combination with you mentioning that the Ministry was going to be poking around Hogwarts a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it all kind of rolled together.
And I want to be ecstatic about that. I want to brag. I want to celebrate yet another amazing Muggle theory come to fruition. But it's just kind of bittersweet, you know?
Why did it have to be her?
Yeah, like, I wanted to kind of be wrong on this one.
Yeah.
Like, there was I blame Mel B for this, but there was a small part of me that was just like, maybe Lupin will come back. He was really good. I want Lupin to come back. And I couldn't just bend and give in to that want and desire, right? I couldn't just go out on a limb and change my prediction because I wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
But a part of me really did, Matt.
I believe it.
So now I'm like, I've disappointed myself with being right. And that's a weird feeling.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah. So, I don't know how this is all going to go down. We'll talk a little bit more about her coming up here, but I'm not getting good vibes from all of this, Matt.
I understand.
Someone else not getting good vibes from any of this. The Sorting Hat.
Yep.
The Sorting Hat. Question.
Yes.
Has the Sorting Hat always been a Sorting Hat?
Yes.
Okay. Because the way the Sorting Hat was starting to explain situations in the Sorting Hat song this year, it kind of felt like the Sorting Hat was somebody that was with the founding people of Hogwarts.
Well, okay. When you say, was a Sorting Hat always a Sorting Hat?
Yeah.
Do you mean, was it, like, was its purpose always to sort, or was it always a hat?
Was it always a hat? Like, in my head, I started to make like this weird fanfic of the Sorting Hat used to be a wizard or a witch, like an actual person, and somehow like their consciousness got extracted and placed into this old hat, and now is like forever now this talking hat. And I don't know, like, in the realm of possibility in this wizarding world, like, where that ranks, but just the way the Sorting Hat was explaining things about back when it all started, back when Hogwarts was first established, like, it kind of made me feel like this was an actual person at one point who went along for the ride and now has been either, you know, by choice or not, placed into the hat as a new, you know, essentially a body, a vessel for their consciousness.
Okay. Nothing to that effect.
Okay.
The hat was always a hat.
Mm-hmm.
And how much do you want to know?
Does it come up later?
In the books, no.
Is it just backstory that was retconned
Pottermore,
in
yeah.
after? I'm curious.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was retconned. It's just further explained later.
Okay.
So JK, as JK explains it, the Sorting Hat actually belonged to Godric Gryffindor,
Okay.
one of the founders.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And when they were determining how to, sort the students, he pulled it off of his head, and along with the other founders, they enchanted it with their combined intelligence.
Okay.
So it is enchanted. It is related to the four founders,
Sure.
but the hat was always a hat.
It wasn't ever a person before.
No.
Okay. That's all I need to know. I will stop with the weird fanfics of the Sorting Hat's previous life.
You can write all the fanfic you want. It's just fine by me. I'm sure we have people who would read it.
Sure. Okay. Well, that clears that up. I feel better about that now.
It's good.
So the Sorting Hat has a new song.
Every year.
Every year. But this one, there's a little bit more emphasis on the new song of the Sorting Hat.
Well, yeah, it was a whole chapter.
Right. I mean, the chapter's title was because of the new song.
Yep.
And what a song it was, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
It got dark.
Much more so than any other song we've heard up to this point.
Yeah. I mean, it still had kind of like a cheery tone and inflection in the words.
Mm-hmm.
Still song, still verse, still very much musical. But
yep.
Very, very, like, the words seem to have a certain crispness to them that they haven't really had before. Before, it always felt like more fluff, more showmanship, more let's get excited for this process type of thing.
Yeah, and it's like, we're going to have a lot of fun this year.
Yeah. And this was just like, you need to stop and listen to what I'm singing right now, because I am explaining some very serious things to you, stupid kids, and I need you to pay attention, because this is my one chance to tell you anything until next year.
Yep, exactly. I won't get to talk again until next year, so hope this works.
I have to make this count, and I need you to pay attention. So, like, the word choice was very deliberate by the hat, I think, and nothing was explicitly stated as far as, like, details are concerned, but there was this overshadowing just burden of potential terror and horror coming to Hogwarts in some form or fashion.
It's what it sounds like.
A bad thing is on the horizon, and it's coming straight for the school.
Yeah.
We don't know what that is. I mean, one could logically assume it has something to do with Voldy and his minions of Death Eaters, but maybe it's something else. Maybe I'm going to be pleasantly surprised by it being something else.
It's possible.
But it kind of feels like it's Voldy, right?
Maybe.
That's what I got from it, at least. And the overall theme, pretty much, was we need to be strong from within. We need to stick together, despite them being four houses, and the hat made it clear that, like, my job is to sort kids into different houses and to separate everybody. What's more important is that after I separate everybody, you still come together as one school, not four individual houses, because you all need to come together to get through the storm that's coming.
Yeah, it's the whole Musketeers all for one.
Right. Stand together, be strong from within.
Yeah.
And I really like that. Like, that was super powerful. Because it hasn't been something I've put much thought into. But it is kind of messed up that, like, the kids are, like, forced to separate, like, on day one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's definitely built that way to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's points and house cups and all these sorts of things. Like they're pitted against each other, like you said, from day one.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I've always seen that from the perspective of this is supposed to be competitive. This is supposed to bring out the best in each other.
Yep.
But I've never looked at it from the perspective until now of, but that's also separating everybody, and that, you know, is driving a wedge where there doesn't need to be a wedge. And when things go down, you want to feel like you can go to any other house and have an ally and not a common enemy.
Yeah, it's kind of like back in book 4, even when they brought in the other schools, and they were supposed to be making friends.
Yeah,
it's like the different schools are on a different level, obviously, but they're kind of like the houses. They're very competitive. Which school's better?
Yep. So, I don't know. Strange things. I guess we'll see where this takes us. And the only thing I could think of is, man, it is going to be really hard to be an ally with a Slytherin. Like, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, like, I feel like those 3 houses could work together if need be.
Sure.
I just feel like Slytherin separate themselves much so.
Like they said, going back to the founders. Yeah. He did. Right. He literally did separate himself from the other 3.
Right. And that's kind of how that house continues to operate.
Yep.
So how is that going to play out when things start going down? You know, like, will Slytherin be there for the other houses or not?
Yep.
And will the school be able to withstand whatever's coming if they don't have the support of all 4 houses? Guess we'll find out.
We will.
I mean, you could tell me right now. We could just,
Oh, no.
skip the drama.
No, thanks.
Okay. Didn't think so.
But I did want, as a kind of a side note here about the song. Like, you have always kind of wondered why, they're a little bit of Hufflepuff hate, or, kind of seen as the outsiders.
Yeah.
I just love the line in this song this year where they're going through and it's like, this is what Slytherin took, this is what Gryffindor took, this is what Ravenclaw took, and then good Hufflepuff, she took the rest.
Yep.
Like, she just took the leftovers. That's what she did.
Yeah.
Back in the day, especially. Like, she didn't necessarily have qualifications to be in my house. It's like, no, we're going to take whoever's left. We're going to treat them all equally.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, while that has its merits, I think that kind of explains why Hufflepuff is seen in the light it is.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just the leftovers.
And at the same time, like, this was, like, another moment where, like, it made me happy to be sorted into Hufflepuff House, because I'm just like, you know what? Like, yeah, everybody deserves to be somewhere, and it's a really upsetting feeling when you feel like you're not welcome somewhere.
Yep.
And that's what the other houses did, were basically exclude people for not being good enough to be in their house. You're not brave and strong enough. You're not pure blood enough. You're not smart enough. And Hufflepuff are just like, whatever. We're all cool here. You guys don't feel like you fit in somewhere? This is the house for you. Everybody's welcome. No qualifications needed.
Got it.
I like that. I like that mentality. Good old Hufflepuff. Just, accepting the leftovers, like you said.
Yep.
So we don't know what the song's about. I mean, other than impending doom and terror.
Yeah. I mean, we hear from Nearly Headless Nick that the hat has given these type of warnings before.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this isn't
So
a brand new thing.
Not-
And
not-
he also
not to
kind of
him.
confirmed that like when the Sorting Hat does this sort of thing, it's usually right.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't make it seem like he just throws out these wild predictions and then nothing comes of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like a couple weeks ago we were saying that when Dumbledore, if Dumbledore has I forget the phrase they use, but if he has a general idea about something, it's usually right.
Right. Yeah, he's So, but then one begs the question, like, how much do you trust Nearly Headless Nick? I mean, he's kind of a loose cannon as it is. He's also a ghost, so I don't know. I tend to think that like this chapter was important because the Hat does know more than students and professors probably want to give the Hat credit for, because it's just a hat.
It's been around a long time now.
But as Nick points out, the Hat does reside in Dumbledore's office 364 days of the year.
Yes.
So that's something to note. Man, I love the Sorting Hat, and it makes me sad that like this is probably the only Sorting Hat we're gonna get for another book in like 3 years. So, I mean, unless the Sorting Hat comes back into play somehow in some way, which I don't think would be a good thing.
It came back in Chamber of Secrets.
Did it?
I mean, it didn't sing or anything, but it made a second appearance.
That's true. I guess
it came down in the chamber. Fox brought it in.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. Well, okay. Maybe there's reasons to be hopeful. Regardless, I don't think we're going to see the Sorting Hat unless there's an important reason to see the Sorting Hat again.
Fair enough.
And at this point, it's probably not going to be a good reason.
Yeah.
So, until next time, Sorting Hat. It's been real. Umbridge, we get confirmation, is the Defense Against Dark Arts teacher now.
Yes, sir.
I already tell this is going to be an interesting year by the fact that she just straight up interrupts Dumbledore while he's explaining what's going on at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
The kids are taken back. I feel like the ghosts probably were taken back. The other professors were flat out amazed that this woman did it.
You don't do that to Dumbledore.
You don't. You just don't. There's some bubbling tension between McGonagall and Umbridge already. Now, before I'd kind of thrown like McGonagall and Madame Pomfrey in the mix together as being like competitive for that alpha female role in Hogwarts.
Sure.
I'm starting to think that like Madame Pomfrey is kind of like Luna. Like she just does her own thing regardless of anything else going on.
Yeah.
And I don't think she probably cared what McGonagall said about anything. And McGonagall probably doesn't have a problem with Madame Pomfrey. The way that McGonagall is going to have a problem with Umbridge.
Sure.
You could just tell right now. Tensions are flaring and McGonagall is doing everything she can to stay silent and not lose her mind over what this woman just did to Dumbledore.
Pretty much.
McGonagall's protective over Albus, you know? She has his back.
Yeah, you can say that.
And she there are certain ways to do things at Hogwarts, and she expects them to be followed. And deviating from that definitely is a no-no in her book. And for someone to be so blatantly disrespectful of not only like how things are done, but disrespectful to the man himself, Dumbledore, like, whew. The conflict is coming, and it's probably going to be kind of boiling out boiling up throughout the entire year, I imagine. But man, I'm uncomfortable. Like, this was just like an uncomfortable feeling all the way around.
Yeah.
The kids were being described as being kind of uncomfortable and kind of unruly also. Like, they weren't listening, they weren't paying attention. Nobody was giving her any sort of respect.
Exactly. And it, well, I mean, the closest, well, I mean, if you want to call it respect, Hermione was definitely listening to her.
Sure. I don't think that was respect. I think that was more interest.
And Dumbledore, like, he kind of played it off that way, but you kind of wonder what was going on in that head of his.
Right. He was fuming, but he can't show that.
Yeah.
Ernie Macmillan, my boy from Hufflepuff, like, he, bless him, he was trying so hard to just go with it and, like, pretend like everything was okay. And, you know, he's a tough little warrior, but I just, yeah, I don't think it worked, you know.
Yeah, he's ready for bed.
It's clear the students are not going to respect her. Like, she definitely didn't demand the respect from them like all the other professors do.
Sure.
And with her being so kind of disrespectful to Dumbledore in front of them.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, that's the biggest turnoff right there.
Yeah.
Bad first impression.
Right. So the students are just like, why are we going to listen to you? Like, you're clearly not like the other professors who we, you know, see as authority figures.
Yep.
You're a joke, you know, like, yeah, it's going to be ugly. It's not going to go well. This year is going to go, I mean, we have to think that she's under control of the ministry and she's going to be reporting back every little detail to Fudge himself, and I'm sure Percy's going to be involved in some, like, it's going to be a mess. Unless she, like, goes rogue and is a rebel and, you know, turns out to be, like, a double agent spy type of scenario, she's going to be insufferable. She's going to be hard to deal with.
I believe it.
Yeah. Let's see. So the last big thing in the chapter.
Yeah.
The little brouhaha in the Gryffindor boys' dormitory.
Yes.
Talk about uncomfortable. I don't like seeing Harry fight with his friends. Like, I have no problem with him duking it out with Malfoy, either verbally or magically or whatever way. I just don't like seeing him have issues with his friends.
Sure,
now,
makes sense.
I'm not going to sit here and put blame on either one of these kids. They're dumb 15-year-old boys. And I don't think... Is it Seamus or Seamus?
Seamus.
Seamus. Was trying to start a fight. It felt like he was trying to avoid the confrontation as much as possible.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Harry didn't know what he was getting into by asking the questions that he was.
Exactly.
He wasn't trying to be confrontational either.
Exactly. Seamus was talking about it with Dean because, you know, you kind of have to figure it's always been Harry and Ron, and oftentimes Harry, Ron, and Neville.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're the other two fifth-year Gryffindor boys that are in that room. You kind of get the idea that Dean and Seamus hang out a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they're kind of best friends. So they just got back from their summer break. They're talking, catching up.
Their holiday, Matt.
Yes. And it's like, yeah, this is what's been going on in my house. It's like my mom's been kind of anti-Harry Potter. Like, I almost didn't get to come back. Like, it was a big deal for him.
Right.
He's not necessarily proud of it.
Right.
But, like, he was just explaining his side of the story to his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry walked in on that, of course, and it didn't lead anywhere good.
Right. And it was an attack on Harry, and you have to think Seamus is impressionable. Like, as most kids are, they absorb what the parents' beliefs tend to be. Right?
Yes, I will agree with that. But at the same time, during this whole encounter, he's like, my mom, my mom, my mom.
Right.
Like, I don't think he had fully accepted what his mom believed yet.
Sure.
Like, obviously,
he was still processing it.
Yeah, he wanted to come back to school, and like he asked Harry, so like, what happened?
Yeah, well, yeah. He kind of wanted to engage and get Harry's point of view on things.
Yeah, he wanted to get the facts firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
I would be the exact same way.
Yeah.
Instead of reading it in paper or hearing it through your parents or something like.
And Harry even like made note that like he hadn't had a chance to really explain anything to anyone since he came back with Cedric's dead body after the Triwizard Tournament was over.
Yeah.
He was rushed off immediately, then he was in the hospital wing, then school ended and everybody left. Like, he didn't have time to kind of talk to the kids, his peers, one-on-one. So everything that they heard was secondhand through Ron and Hermione, possibly, or, as we found out, from what's the name of the newspaper? Daily Prophet. Daily Prophet. There we go. Like, that's where a lot of people probably got their information about what happened.
Yeah. It's basically, from what we know, the biggest publication out there, the most read probably, and yeah, that's what they've been printing all summer long.
Mm-hmm. So it was nobody's at fault here, and Harry felt attacked. He felt defensive because somebody else is reading this Daily Prophet newspaper and is getting a different impression of him than he would want. Yeah. Because he hasn't had his chance to explain his side of the story to anybody that will listen. But, like, Seamus's perspective, he's just like, that's all I know, and this is what my mom's saying, and I'm just telling you kind of why I almost wasn't allowed to come back. Like, I'm not trying to attack you, bro. I'm just telling you what happened.
Exactly. And like, he didn't even really want to get into this with Harry in the first place.
Definitely
like,
not.
That's why he stopped talking when Harry came in the room.
Yeah.
But Harry pushed him and pushed him and pushed him, and it's like, okay, fine. You want to know?
Sure.
Here's what's going on.
And Harry wasn't directly attacking his mom because, like, as Ron pointed out, like, they both met his mom and they both liked her. Like, she wasn't bad. She wasn't negative in any sort of way. So he wasn't, like, directly attacking her. He was kind of just attacking the fact that she would believe what she read in the Daily Prophet as opposed to anything else. But then again, she didn't have anything else to go with.
Yep.
So he's just being all defensive. And then, of course, Seamus is going to be defensive because that's his mom, Like...
Once again, like I said, defending family.
Yeah. So
everybody does it.
Both sides had equal rights to the argument, and it was super uncomfortable, but, like, I get it, Like, I totally get it. And my favorite part about the entire confrontation was finding out that Dean's parents are muggles, and they could care less about anything going on. He's just like, I'm smart enough to not even tell them about any of this stuff, so we're good on my account.
Yeah.
He just, like, wiped his hands clean. He's like, look, I'm not even getting involved with this nonsense. Like, my parents don't care. I'm definitely not going to give them any reason to care, and we're going to keep it that way.
Yep.
I loved it. I think Dean was perfect in this situation.
Yes.
Neville is Team Harry.
Exactly. I'd love to see that. Neville, after all these years, we finally get to kind of see him step up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and say, yeah, this is how it is.
Yeah. I feel like he's always been Team Harry. He's just never
definitely
been bold enough to state it,
Yeah. I mean, You could have kind of questioned it when he tried to stop them from going out in the middle of the night. It's like, okay, are you with us or not?
Right.
But we've kind of said he's the, I mean, as weird as it sounds, the honorary fourth member of the trio.
Yep. The fourth.
So,
wheel.
Yeah.
The fourth wheel to the tricycle.
Yes.
So yeah, just I don't feel like it's going to last too long. Like, this will brush over. Like, Harry's still dealing with a lot of things. It's his first day back, but, you know, he wasn't really able to hang out with his friends on the train ride here. Now he's seeing weird, creepy, ghoulish horse bat things. Now he's finding out that, like, some of his best friends' parents are wishy-washy on believing him and his side of the story. He still hasn't had a chance to really talk to many people. Like, he wants to shut everybody out for just, like, a second and just try to remind himself that he's at Hogwarts and that this is where he's happiest. And he's having a hard time because nothing seems to be going right on day one. Hagrid's not there. There's this new teacher from the ministry that he already doesn't like. Like, all these things, like the Sorting Hat is throwing out these crazy predictions of bad things to come. Like, nothing is working out in Harry's favor, and he kind of wants a redo of the day. He's just like, this is Hogwarts. This is where I am the best.
Yeah, this is supposed to be my happy place.
Right, and so far, day one is not happy. So, regardless of anything else going on, like, it's just unfortunate that his first day back ends in such a miserable way.
Yeah.
Guess he doesn't want to fight with Seamus and Dean. Like, he has no beef with them at all.
Sure.
He's just... It was the last straw, you know, ultimately.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that was pretty much the end of the chapter. I mean, Dumbledore, you know, getting kicked out of all these different crews that he's in. Like, I don't think Dumbledore cares.
Yeah, we kind of already knew that was going on.
His priority is Hogwarts. It always will be Hogwarts. That's all he's concerned with. As long as he's still headmaster at Hogwarts,
yeah,
he's good with everything else.
I mean, he's mentioned that before. Like, he easily could have been Minister of Magic.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to.
Right.
He wanted to stay at Hogwarts.
Yep. So that's where we end with the end of day one at Hogwarts. Glad to be back, Matt. I'm glad to be back. But it's just, I need some luck to turn into Harry Potter's favor here. He can't keep getting beat down day in and day out. He needs some good things to happen.
All right. We'll see what we can do.
Okay. Let's talk about the Muggle Poll, shall we?
Let's do that.
Okay. The Muggle Poll, of course, is put up on Twitter every week. You can find us on Twitter at TalesFromGH. Matt puts up the poll in relation to what we're reading for the week. Puts it up about 4 p.m. Pacific time. It runs through while we're recording, so we encourage everybody to go and vote and participate and share your opinions with whatever question the professor himself is posing to the audience. What did you ask everybody this week, Matt?
This week, I wanted to know kind of your feelings on the different publications we have available in the Wizarding world.
Mm-hmm.
We got to talk about a couple of them this week, and others we have mentioned previously in the past week or two. I think we've mentioned all of these, actually.
Sure.
So if you could only subscribe to one of these publications, which would it be? We have the Daily Prophet,
mm-hmm.
Witch Weekly,
mm-hmm.
the Quibbler,
mm-hmm.
or possibly your favorite, at least you had a very high opinion of it last time, Witch Broomstick.
Now let me ask you a question before we get to the answers.
Yes.
I know we talked about the Quibbler a lot.
Yes.
Is this the first time we've ever had a mention of the Quibbler?
Absolutely.
Okay. I couldn't remember, like, sometimes things get mentioned and then...
Oh, yeah.
It's just...
No, this was definitely our introduction to the Quibbler.
Okay.
For the record, just because it's little details that I love. The little Funko Rock Candy Luna figure that we gave away a couple weeks ago. She is in fact holding a couple of issues of the Quibbler.
Upside down?
No, she's not reading them at the moment.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So,
and the only reason I asked that question, Matt, is because last week I thought Witch Broomstick was the first time we had learned about this, and you were like, "No, we've totally talked about this before."
we've mentioned that before.
So I had to ask about the Quibbler.
Yeah, the Quibbler is brand new, in part because it is highly associated with the Lovegoods.
Okay.
Like as you found out, her father, it's his thing.
Sure.
So, yeah, this is definitely the first time.
Okay, just had to ask.
Yep.
To answer your question, Matt,
yes.
I think you already stated it. Witch Broomstick would definitely be my favorite, just because it's just weird enough to be right up my alley. I love the play on words of the title, and I would definitely enjoy a subscription to Witch Broomstick.
Fair enough.
What did the people say out there?
The people went with me, 41% on the Quibbler.
You're going for that straight entertainment value, aren't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Little bit surprising with 28% yet on the Daily Prophet, 17 for Witch Weekly, and only 14 for Witch Broomstick.
Man, that's okay.
But
that's okay.
Hey, you still got a sizable following there.
Sure. And also, like, we all could agree that the Daily Prophet isn't the best of publications.
Not right now. From the writings we've seen, it's
But I also feel like there's probably some decent journalists that write for the Daily Prophet who are just like shaking their head on a daily basis that they have to be associated with the paper that's trying to like just slander Harry Potter to nothingness.
Sure.
Like there's probably some decent journalism going on somewhere, but it just gets hidden by what we see of the Daily Prophet, which is just 100% taking down Harry Potter and Dumbledore and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, their articles get edited too much, a little too much.
Right. Or articles that have nothing to do with them, that just have something to do with normal witch and wizard things that are good reads. Solid journalism that just don't have the flair of Harry Potter.
Back on page 13.
Yeah. So, I get it. I can see why people would be wanting the Daily Prophet.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to call anybody out for going that route. You know, it's not all bad. Just most of it. Thank you for everybody that voted on that and shared your thoughts and opinions on why you chose such things. With that being said, though, Matt, let's hear from the people even more so.
All right.
Let's do some emails, if we have any. We
can do that. Let's see here. First email this week is going to be from Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin. Is that a new name?
I believe so.
I feel like it is.
Hey, Josh and Matt. Just wanted to start off with a shout out to my sister Ashley, who got me into this podcast.
Hi, Ashley.
I've been binge listening for is that a word now? Binge listening?
Yes, it is, Matt.
Okay. For a little over a week now, about to finish the last episode of Prisoner Azkaban. I'm so in love with everything about it. I simultaneously can't wait to catch up and dread having to wait a week between episodes. Sounds familiar?
Yep. Pretty much everybody has said that.
Yeah. I can't get over your ability to rein in your reactions, Matt, to Josh's outlandish opinions / on-point predictions. I found myself yelling / exclaiming a lot when Josh gets a chance to explain his thoughts, and I applaud your every effort to remain quiet or only softly chuckle. Serious kudos.
I think I only heard you use a mute button like 4 or 5 times this episode.
Oh, yeah. If only you knew. And Josh, How are you so close with so many of your theories? It seriously boggles the mind how you're able to guess / dance around so many of JK's twists. It makes me want to go back in time and wait to read the books when I was older rather than 5 to 6 to test my smarts. I originally planned on reading along with you guys, but the podcasts are too good to wait for. I can't wait to finish listening to all of the published ones so I can get ahead and re-listen while rereading.
Wow.
Since it's been a good 2 years since I last reread them. I try and do it once a year, but I've been slacking. This time, I'll be able to use my illustrated versions, which I hope you guys have been able to purchase. I personally think Jim Kay's illustrations are much better than the ones from the original editions. I know Josh hates emails that have parts he can't read. And yeah, that's the part I can't read. Okay. Thankfully, though, she actually sent in 2 more short emails this week.
Okay.
Before anybody else got any emails in.
Wow.
She's
Caitlin
going off
hard
this week. Yeah. Fun fact about me and my obsession with all things Harry Potter. I took the first Pottermore quiz when it was in beta and got sorted into Hufflepuff. Mm-hmm. Then again, a year or 2 later, where I was sorted into Slytherin.
Ooh,
I've taken it 3 times since 2013 and been sorted into Gryffindor each time. I like to think that I've grown to accept myself as a Griff, but I miss the Huff pride sometimes.
Does she ever go back and think about what could have been as a Slytherin?
Ooh. No thanks.
Shivers.
Just ignore that part of your life. Also,
days.
quick shout out to Atari Alex. I look forward to hearing your sassy and insightful questions almost as much as I do the rest of the podcast. Keep it up, dude. And then finally, sorry to do 3 emails, but I just listened to Josh's Patronus quiz, and I am also a dolphin.
Nice.
I answered along with him as he read it aloud, and although I agreed with him on the majority of the time, there was still some where we differed. I love how even the Patronus quiz isn't super obvious like a few of the sorting quiz questions.
Right. Yeah, looking back, I would be curious to do the sorting questions again, because I feel like there were a lot of questions if I had knowledge of the Harry Potter franchise going into it.
Sure.
I could have determined which way it was going to go.
Yeah. If you knew all the characteristics and different people and what they've done, and yeah.
But the Patronus quiz was just so off the wall. I don't feel like there's any way to really pinpoint what you get with that thing.
And with that one, even more so, they force you to answer quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You could run out of time on a question.
Yep.
It was, not like the other quizzes where you can just sit there all day and it's think about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Another dolphin friend.
I like it.
As well as a Hufflepuff, Gryffindor, or who knows? Everything but a Ravenclaw, apparently. Thank you, Caitlin, though.
Absolutely.
I also have to say thank you to people named Ashley who like to introduce this to their siblings. Mm-hmm. Because it was just last week we had the email from Matthew, Matthew, who won our giveaway this week. I believe it was his sister, Ashley,
right,
who introduced him to it. So thank you to anyone who introduces someone to the podcast. Thank you very much.
Especially the Ashleys out there.
But yeah, just recently the Ashleys have been taking over. Reminds me of Recess.
So all of you... Yeah, the Ashley.
The Ashleys.
Those were not the Ashleys that we want listening to this podcast, Matt.
Okay.
So if you're a non-Ashley out there, now this is your open challenge to go introduce the podcast to another sibling and get them to write in so that we could congratulate other people not named Ashley.
Perfect.
But all you other Ashleys, keep it up.
Yeah. Doing well so far.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next email then from Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Says, hey guys. So this email is a little earlier than usual. I'm actually on a mission trip with my church right now to the Dominican Republic.
Cool.
We'll be here for about 8 days, and I'm not sure I'm going to have free time later, so I figured I might as well send it early. I normally take notes while I read the chapters since I'm ahead of where you guys are, but unfortunately I left all my notes at home. So you're getting brand new ones.
All right.
We're finally heading back to Hogwarts. I love this chapter because the introduction to one of my favorite characters in the series, Luna Lovegood. So quirky and random and straightforward, I love her. It's weird that Harry was not sitting with Ron and Hermione the whole time, but I'm glad we got to see more of Ginny, Neville, and of course, the intro to Luna, to establish who she is a little bit. Harry knows that Hagrid went on a special mission. I get him being initially surprised that Hagrid's not there, but he should be able to put 2 and 2 together, that he's still taking care of business that Dumbledore sent him to do, which I think he does eventually catch on to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it does take him a while.
Yeah. I think he just wanted that familiarity. Like,
sure.
At that point, everything was still kind of not going his way, and he was just looking forward to that voice that he's heard.
Too much was changing too quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole train ride was way different than he's used to, and now he gets off the train and it's different, and then he goes to the carriages and it's different, and that should have been this week's theme. It's different.
Yep.
How about that? Wait, I'm sure glad to know that he's just as sane as Luna is. Josh, what do you think the winged horse beasts are? Why could Harry and Luna see them and no one else could?
I don't know. They remind me of Dementors, but I don't know how that fits into anything. So,
well, we know Dumbledore hates Dementors. He's not gonna employ them to pull his carriages.
I know. I'm just saying they remind me of them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How about that Sorting Hat song? The hat has seen many, many years and has gone through some troubling wizarding times. So if it gives a warning and some directives, I think it's giving them for a reason.
You would think.
Yeah. And I mean, it's hard to say because everybody has a different perspective on this. Whereas the professors, they may have heard some of these warnings before, but none of the students have.
Right.
Unless there was a warning within a year or two before Harry got there, all the students younger than Harry never would have heard a warning. Mm-hmm. So, Umbridge has got some gall to interrupt Dumbledore mid-speech to make her ridiculous speech. I'd like to think Dumbledore said his line extremely sarcastically when she was finished. It's very possible.
Yeah.
Harry should have taken time to explain what happened instead of getting so angry. But I can't blame them because they're kids and they don't know how to talk out their problems. Very true as well.
Yep.
All right. Next email from... Well, we're going to try this one.
Ooh.
It's another German name.
All right.
And he starts off with greetings from Germany and good luck with that name.
Okay.
So we're going to go with Jochen.
Jochen.
That's my best guess right now.
All right.
Feel free to correct me, give me a pronunciation next week.
Okay.
He says, I've been listening for a long time and now recently also become a patron.
Hey, thank you.
Greatly appreciated. I'm looking forward to your podcast every week for my trip to work. It really is the best of its kind. A quick word about the audiobooks. I much prefer the version by Stephen Fry, it seems most Europeans do, but he does much better job with the voices and pronunciations, in my opinion. But I guess American listeners would say they prefer Jim Dale because they are already used to his version. It's also possible.
Sure.
But yeah, honestly, I think the preference for most people right now is just availability.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that we can readily purchase these Stephen Fry versions in the
really?
U.S. Like not easily, I don't think.
I guess that makes sense though.
But like I wonder if I go onto like Amazon UK,
like
if I can buy them there. If I set up an account over there. Maybe. We'll have to look into it. Now to the chapters. We're finally going back to Hogwarts. Back to spells and enchantments, potions and friends, to Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, Slytherin. Back to the place where our story begins, at Hogwarts. We meet a new character on the train, who Josh will probably enjoy.
Very much so.
And we meet the new Defense Against Dark Arts teacher, who Josh is hopefully less excited for. On the way to the castle, we also meet a new creature. Or do we? Is it reassuring that Luna can apparently see them and Harry is just as sane as she is?
I don't know.
That's a good question, though. At Hogwarts, we are greeted by a really long new song from the Sorting Hat, calling for unity amongst the houses. But then, at the end of the chapter, in the first night in the dormitory, it's not really going well for Harry. Luckily, he is backed up by Ron and Neville. How will the rest of the year go for Harry, even if some of his own house are calling him a liar?
I think calling him a liar is a bit too strong. You know?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what he said, but I don't think it's necessarily because he doesn't believe him. It's just he doesn't have reason to believe him yet.
Fair enough.
You know, like Malfoy would definitely be calling Harry Potter a liar. Straight up, there's no argument about that.
I guess we kind of talked about that. Like, Seamus was looking for an explanation, and Harry just didn't give it to him.
Yep.
So
yeah.
All right. Speaking once again of our German friends, we have another email from Masha.
Hi, Masha.
Says, Dear Josh and Matt, Chapter 10 is so funny. Neville spoils Harry's potential moment of cool when Cho enters. Well, at least moment of halfway cool, since Harry, 15 years old stupid, thinks Neville, Looney, and Ginny aren't impressive enough. But Luna Lovegood, I particularly like the one sentence in her description. The girl gave off an aura of distinct dottiness. Though she must be smart as well as dotty, since she's a Ravenclaw. I'm amused by her complete disregard of etiquette when she tells Ron conversationally that Padma thinks he totally sucked as a dance partner. And how about the Quibbler? Is Sirius Stubby Boardman? And did he ever get hit by a turnip? Does Fudge eat a goblin for breakfast? Or is this just the wizard equivalent of Weekly World News?
Ooh, that's another good publication, isn't it? I forgot about that one.
Well, is the National Enquirer, is that international? May not have that over in Germany.
That's true.
Not so funny is the thought that Mr. Malfoy might have realized that the black dog was serious.
Yeah, I didn't pay much attention to that or pay it.
Yeah.
I didn't. I feel like that was a stretch. I feel like it was just Harry getting in his own head.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just complete coincidence over Malfoy's wording?
Yeah, and then just Harry being super
paranoid,
hyper alert to things. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been hanging out with Moody too much.
It's true. Then there are the creepy animals that pull the carriages that no one sees except Luna. And I personally would be slightly worried when someone like Luna told me I was as sane as her. Chapter 11 is a pretty bleak start for the new school year. Hagrid is gone. The Sorting Hat urges Hogwarts students to stand together, and in the same chapter, we find the anti-Harry campaign in The Prophet has already spread distrust all the way into his dorm. Then there's also the new Defense Against Dark Arts teacher. I guess she's not entirely the kind of person Josh had in mind in the last episode.
Not quite.
Yeah?
Not quite.
Okay. She says, not the best outlook right now. All right. Next email from Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Ravenclaw. Says, Dear Matt and Josh, help me. I need homework. I believe this is one of your younger listeners looking for something to do in the summer, perhaps.
Also, Katie might be moving up the ranks in my favorite Ravenclaws.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Could somebody please give me Harry Potter related homework? Please. That does sound like a Ravenclaw. I'm finding a lot in common with other listeners. Just to name a few, I'm Catholic. I do martial arts. I'm still a preteen. And that's about it. I have something in common with Josh, though. My birthday is in November.
Okay.
Although not on Thanksgiving.
Lucky for you.
She says, last week I was camping with my best friend, who is Muggle-born like me, so I was not able to participate in the contest. As I see no... I really enjoyed the giveaway this week because I love to draw. I specialize in drawing faces, though. And yeah, I think that's about it from Katie this week.
So Katie wants homework, huh? Harry Potter related homework.
Katie does want homework.
Oh boy, putting me on the spot here, Matt. I don't know. Let me think about that. We'll get back to Katie off the air.
All right.
Okay. I can't come up with anything immediately. You didn't warn me that this was coming, Matt, so I couldn't put any thought into it.
It's true.
But we'll come up with something for Katie.
All right.
Okay.
Katie, be on the lookout.
Yep.
All right. Next email from Marissa.
Hi, Marissa.
Says, hi guys, quick anecdote from the weekend. I went to a friend's house to play Cards Against Humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Her boyfriend's cousin and his girlfriend were also there. A little after they got there, my friend said, you know, Jenna might be a bigger Harry Potter fan than you. I replied with, I doubt it.
Fighting words.
She said, I'll fight you for it. We then spent the rest of the evening throwing questions back and forth and eventually making plans to have a marathon of all the movies. I still think I'm the superior fan, but I'll let her think what she wants. I don't think Harry should eat right before bedtime. That might contribute to his weird dreams. I stopped eating right before going to bed when I started having a recurring dream about being drowned by a piece of pizza.
Whoa.
It was terrifying.
What kind of pizza are we talking about?
I'm not sure.
Like Chicago deep dish? Like you could definitely drown.
Exactly. That's the best I can come up with.
Suffocated by pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
That would be horrible. I love pizza.
It's horrible, right? But, like, doesn't a little part of you just sit there and think, I could eat my way out? I want to at least try, right?
So you would think so, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's what she tried and just never stopped, and you eventually just get overtaken by it.
There's worse ways to go.
I suppose. We finally get Luna. She cracks me up. Luna is the best. And yes, she's a Ravenclaw because they do exist. We get references to 4 Ravenclaws in this chapter by name. Must be some sort of record.
Definitely a record. If I had this in book 1, my whole anti-Ravenclaw stance would have disappeared immediately.
Sure. Also, it didn't get mentioned in his notes, but did Josh happen to notice the male Ravenclaw prefect's last name?
No.
Well, because
you even said it at the beginning of the show.
Who this was? Yes. Anthony Goldstein.
Anthony Goldstein. Okay.
Ring any bells?
No.
Might be a relative of 2 certain American witches by the name of Tina and Queenie.
Oh! Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
There you go. Of course, it never gets referenced. It never gets referenced in the books, but J.K. did confirm it on Twitter.
That they are related, huh?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Man, he's shooting up the list of favorite Ravenclaws now. Matt, I'm sorry. You're getting buried.
Yeah, I understand. Hermione has a couple of odd moments in this chapter. One, when she calls Pansy a cow. Not sure it has to do with her weight. I think she's more indicating that she's dumb. But I could be wrong. And two, when she insults the Quibbler. Luna jumps right out on that, and it's foot and mouth syndrome for good old Hermione.
Yep.
We're not going to read that now. And we could, but I've avoided talking about it the entire show, so I'm just not going to talk about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It says, "Excuse me, Josh, but you have no reason to dislike Ravenclaw to begin with. I will not stand for your hating on Luna because she made a comment about Hagrid. I won't stand for it."
Now, to be fair, I never hated Ravenclaw. I just didn't believe they existed. That's a totally different perspective.
But I do believe, since I know she's a patron, so she has access to your notes.
Oh, I know.
Reading your notes, it sounded a little bit different, perhaps, than the way you played it off in the show.
Okay, well, Matt, you got to remember, my notes are reactionary immediately as it's happening.
I know.
I have
and
since
she's reacting to your reactions.
That's fair. But I also don't hate Ravenclaw, and I never have hated Ravenclaw.
Fair enough.
I just didn't want to acknowledge their existence.
All right, and she also clarifies here the hat has always been a hat.
Yeah.
It was Gryffindor's hat. And she says it also says that it says so in one of the songs.
Yeah, probably. Again,
I'm not.
all the other songs were just fluff.
Yeah, they're long songs, and yeah, you didn't usually pay too close of attention to them.
It wasn't
like I think we mentioned the first one because like it gave us our first descriptions of the different houses.
Right.
So I made a point of it, but other than that, we've kind of breezed over them.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we've talked about they change every year, and how the Sorting Hat just sits there all year thinking of the new song for the next year. But
and how Harry missed one the second year. So
yeah.
More Umbridge. She's the worst. I am so looking forward to Josh's reactions to her in the coming chapters. The Ministry is interfering at Hogwarts, and that can't be good. The government getting involved in regulating education is dicey, even in our mundane world.
It's true.
As Dumbledore said earlier, he doesn't care where he gets kicked out of as long as they keep him on the chocolate frog cards. He will stick to his guns. He is protecting his students and trying to prepare them for the truths and the darkness that is coming.
Yep.
Hashtag Team Dumbledore.
Definitely. Also, can I just point out that I am feeling reassured that I seem to be on the right side of the argument when it comes to Umbridge. Unlike my very firm stance that I had with Rita Skeeter.
Yes.
I was definitely going against the current on that one.
Yeah, you do seem to have a few more supporters this time.
That feels good. I feel like I'm not going to upset everybody this time.
Yeah, we're not getting so many angry emails this week.
Yeah, just wait, though. I'm sure I'll mess something up, Matt.
Okay, fair enough. Next email then from Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Says, "Hey guys, so it turns out I'm a lying liar. I do have time to email after all. Mm-hmm. Still a bit tired from my Orlando trip, but it was definitely a lot of fun. We did not have time to visit Harry Potter World, but I was there last year.
That's
my
good.
Parents took me for my birthday because they are, in fact, the best parents.
Awesome.
So, Luna Lovegood. I can't get into too many of my thoughts without spoilage, but Josh should definitely keep an open mind where she's concerned. After all, as much as I love and adore Hagrid, some of his teaching choices are questionable. Luna doesn't seem like she knows Hagrid super well, so of course she's going to call him out. She didn't say she disliked him as a person, just as a teacher. If that didn't make sense, blame the lack of sleep I got the night before last.
Nope, totally makes sense.
One more thing. Josh mentioned that Regulus Black died at 15. I never got that impression. The family tree just said he had died 15 years previously. I could verify with a quote, but that's too much work.
I think somebody else corrected me on Twitter too about that.
Yeah. So I think we did clarify that. That might have been in the email section last week even. So
possibly.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I believe we got Josh back on the right page now.
Yes.
Says, I had more things to say, but I forgot them. I may spam you on Twitter if I remember.
You know where to find us, at Tales from GH.
Always welcome.
Also, let's talk about me being confused about things.
Okay.
Because this was something that happened on Twitter over the last week that I totally forgot to address at the top of the show. I seem to completely forget who has graduated from Hogwarts and who hasn't. For some reason, I was under the impression that Sirius hadn't graduated. And then I was under the impression that Lupin hadn't graduated, because I was like, well, maybe I was thinking about Lupin and not Black.
No, I'm pretty sure I think all of the Marauders graduated.
Yeah, everybody kind of pointed that out to me on Twitter. So
yeah,
I don't know what I was thinking or how I got that confused, but like last week I was talking about Sirius in some context not graduating, or
yeah, because I mean we talked about he ran away from home.
Maybe that's why I just assumed that he didn't graduate.
Yeah, he ran away from home, but he still went back to Hogwarts because he wanted to hang out with James as much as possible. So he went to live with James and then went back to school with James. Sure.
Maybe that's just where my wires were getting crossed, was him running away from home.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can see that.
There was something screwy going on in my head, and everybody, thankfully, pointed me in the right direction.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Our next email from the other Katie.
The other Katie. Hi, other Katie.
I believe you started naming them last week when we had a bunch of them. So
sure.
She says, aloha, Matt and Josh. I mentioned Joe's old website in my last email. She still has a website, and it still has some interactive fun stuff, but it's not nearly as fun as her old website.
Did you say Joe's website?
Yes.
Is JK's first name Joe?
Yes.
Did not know that.
Well, shoot. Now you're going to make me second guess myself.
Nope, not necessarily.
I believe it's Joanne, I think.
Okay.
But she often goes by Joe. And another fun fact, she actually, I believe, doesn't have a middle name.
Oh, okay.
The K, well, it stands for Kathleen, I believe. But it was only when I think it was created for Harry Potter. Like, it was one of those publisher things that's
sure.
like,
yeah,
we can't use that name.
Yeah.
And so we needed something like we
need a good pen name.
Yep.
Okay.
And so she created the middle name and became JK.
I bet this is all in that little autobiography that Brent sent me.
It very possible.
I should probably read that.
But yeah, Joanne Kathleen Rowling.
Okay.
But yeah, she was just born Joanne. So.
Okay. Sorry. I was just making sure we were all on the same page here.
Sorry. Yeah. Some people do write like Joe or something, but I usually translate it to JK when I'm reading it.
Okay.
So that may be partly my fault that I don't always read it that way.
Sure. Okay.
In any case, yes. We're still talking about the author of Harry Potter.
Okay.
She says, I suppose Pottermore took its place, but I don't love Pottermore the way I did Joe's original site. I have a lot of feelings about Pottermore, but I'll leave that for another time.
Fair enough.
Thanks. On to this week's chapters. I feel like Harry has always had vivid dreams, but this corridor dream is one of his dreams that actually creeps me out. I never thought about it like that, but yeah.
I feel
Dark,
like
creepy hallway.
Something's going to happen with this.
All right. We get another Sturgis Podmore mention. Any thoughts on him?
Nope, but I'm paying attention.
All right. And I love this chapter. One of my favorite characters is finally in the story and representing Ravenclaw. Luna is a fantastic character, and I love her brand of humor.
I like how all the Ravenclaws are coming out of the woodworks this week.
They've been there. You just ignore them.
Well, they just didn't identify as Ravenclaw before.
I think they have.
Okay.
Poor Harry and poor Cho. School kid crushes are hard to navigate.
Truth.
Yes. The Quibbler is my favorite wizarding publication. It has some truly amazing stories in it. Depends on your perspective.
Too amazing to believe sometimes.
Nice prediction from the Muggle about Hagrid still being away from Hogwarts at the start of the new term. Yes. Well done. The skeletal horses are finally here. They're another reason I love this chapter so much. We finally get to hear another song from the Sorting Hat, and this time it's a very long warning to the school. I love the idea that the Hat spent an entire year making up a new song and then had to change it after learning Voldemort had come back.
Yeah. Just scratched all the plans for the song.
Yeah. Like to see the original version of this year's song.
Start from square one with this one.
Yeah. Umbridge is here as the new Defense Against Dark Arts professor. Is she the arm of the Ministry, or is there something else going on?
I have to believe she's the arm of the Ministry, but again...
You already left the door open for something else.
Oh, yeah. Double secret agents we know exist in this world.
All right.
Snape.
Seamus has always made me irrationally angry in this chapter. I understand that he grew up in the wizarding world, and with a mother who believes in the Daily Prophet and what it prints, but still. He's known Harry for 4 years. How could he possibly think that Harry was lying about Voldy? For that matter, how could he believe Dumbledore is lying? The way the media shapes public discourse is an amazing thing.
I mean, to be fair, he's also seen Harry get in a lot of trouble over the years, and kind of...
Also true, yeah.
Ruffle a lot of feathers that, only Harry Potter could... I don't know, like...
Yeah, like the end of turn feast, we're always, like, talking about Harry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hard to say.
But she says, then thank goodness Ron and Neville are standing by Harry. He's going to need all the support he can get.
Definitely. We know that to be true.
Yeah. All right. Next email from Zach.
Hi, Zach.
So Josh has finally met Luna.
Yes.
I've been waiting for this for a while. My second favorite character in the series. Hermione is first. And Josh is finally forced to acknowledge that Ravenclaws exist.
That's true.
Yes, some other things happen in these chapters, but I don't care. Luna is finally here. Yes, I don't even care that Umbridge is a professor. None of that is important because Luna is here. I'm sure Josh missed the reference to her in the previous book, which I know I'm not going to be the only person to bring up, which you might be. That's all I have. Not enough time to actually read the chapters and fill in the rest. So I'll spare you what could be 7 more paragraphs about Luna.
Luna was referenced in the last book?
I think that's what he... Shoot, he put that right after a... Either Luna or Umbridge he's referring to.
Oh.
But
wait, was Umbridge referenced in the last book?
I was gonna say I don't think she was. So I'm gonna go with he was talking about Luna. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. I'm not. It's possible. I
Somebody out there
weird
knows.
That. Yeah, I wouldn't have caught that, but.
Zach,
okay.
You're just going to have to write in again and let us know what we're missing here.
Yeah, give me the quote next time. She definitely was. She's listed as an indirect mention in Goblet of Fire. So
right, let me just do a quick Google search here, Matt, and I'll find this real quick.
No. You're not going to let you do that. But
hands off the keyboard, Muggle.
Yeah, now you got me kind of interested. So
okay.
All right. 2 more emails from you know who.
What's up, Mel B?
Mel B says, first of all, last week, they said an owl was sent to Harry's home telling him about the time change of his trial. But he and the Weasleys aren't home. They're pretty much in hiding. I'm guessing only owls that know where to go can find them there. I would think so as well, especially with the all the magic protection they have on that place.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the Dursleys appreciated that stray owl showing up.
Yeah.
The owl's probably as confused as the Dursleys were.
Yeah. Maybe the owl just kept flying around in circles. Really busy this week, so this was all done in a rush. That she ended up sending this in a separate email too, but she has a nice picture, which
is it her picture of the Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers?
Her picture is of Umbridge, and she's like, could this double as my boggart?
Maybe.
So she sent in a separate email and entered that as her boggart. So
awesome.
That works. Sirius going to Harry with the station is so cute. I feel so sorry for him being locked up all the time. Lunar Lovegood, I know Matt will now be trying to convince you that Ravenclaw exists because of this girl. But look at her. Is she even real?
What?
Maybe she's just a projection caused by some magic. She's so out there. This is not proof that Ravenclaw exists. We need a real person to prove that it's a thing.
Now Mel B's just messing with me. Also, I would maybe believe something that Mel B is talking right if Jenny wasn't the one to introduce everybody to Luna, you know? Like if they just walked in and there's just like this girl sitting here and they're like, oh, who are you?
And we get this from like Harry's perspective.
Right. But Jenny introducing everybody, I'm like, no. Sorry, Mel B, you're not messing with my mind.
You have a very good point there.
Yeah. Oh.
Unless the whole train ride, Harry was just in a fog and it's like, he imagined Ginny introducing this new... Yeah. The Quibbler may just be the best magazine ever after Witch Weekly.
Of course.
All the articles are great. They state an apparent fact and then have a, but is it? Or what are they? And then spin a crazy alternative theory.
It's pretty much how I do this podcast on a weekly basis.
And people love it. Maybe we should have called this... Shoot, is that name already taken for the podcast?
Too late to change it, Matt.
Okay, fine.
We're stuck with this name that I will never understand.
Okay. The Sorting Hat is pretty heavy this year, dispensing some truths and advice. Mm-hmm. The hat does not like separating the students. I think this is a good point. They're setting students up against one another based on their houses, especially with Slytherin being somewhat outcast from the rest. No wonder the cunning and ambitious go evil. And there's our new Defense Against Dark Arts teacher. Dun dun dun. I think everyone has ruined that we don't like her, and Umbridge's speech should be enough to tell you why.
Yeah.
Josh predicted the Ministry would meddle.
Finally, I also predicted a female teacher.
Although you have predicted that for 2 books in a row now.
Look, Matt, it happened. And Mel B needs to give me credit for that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Finally, do you think if Harry told Seamus what happened, he would have believed him?
In that moment, no. I think they need to have like a sit-down, rational, one-on-one, no emotions tied to the conversation type of discussion. In that moment, whatever Harry was going to say wasn't going to matter. It was already tension when Harry walked in. I just think it wouldn't have worked in that moment.
Okay. Then, finally, our last email from Atari Alex.
What's up, Alex?
He managed to get it in. It says, Dear Josh and Matt, so I see you pulled a fudge and moved your recording time up to try and prevent me from getting an email in. Nice try. Thank you for that analogy, Alex.
Yeah.
It was worth the entire email.
I mean, to be fair, we say every week we record Monday evenings, so everybody has plenty of time to write in. Some people have time to write in 3 emails, Matt.
Honestly, yeah, we never actually give you a recording time.
No.
So telling you we're recording 2 hours early doesn't even really...
2 hours earlier
shouldn't
than
be
what?
a thing. Yeah. It says, I don't really know what to say about these chapters. I don't feel like very much happened. We got to meet Luna Lovegood, who's awesome. Mm-hmm. We're introduced to the mysterious skeletal creatures, which are somewhat reminiscent of the stall horses from Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Which, to be perfectly honest, Josh, you know this. I've just started playing,
right?
Like in the past week or two,
yeah.
And I have not actually seen these creatures.
It'll take a while before you get to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
We have the Sorting Hat's ominous poem, and we find out a little bit more about how Dolores Umbridge factors into the story. But other than that, there's not much going on, which I think you alluded to at the beginning. It's like, yeah, these weren't necessarily action-packed chapters, but
no, informative,
yes,
introductory. Most importantly,
slightly entertaining
and kind of a welcome back chapter.
Yep. Yeah. But that would make too short of an email.
Dang it! Almost got off scot-free.
So I'll nitpick on something else.
Oh boy.
Malfoy as Slytherin's prefect. Really? I mean, I know there's pretty slim pickings from what Slytherin has to offer, especially in Harry's year. But let's review our options. Dumb and Dumber, a.k.a. Crabbe and Goyle.
Sure.
Certainly aren't leadership material.
No.
But they might also lack the brain power necessary to abuse their position. So that might not have been the worst option. Then, if you want to cast the net out a little bit more, there's the Slytherin boy from the 3rd movie. I think he would have been a good prefect.
Yeah, he seemed like he had great character and...
Yeah.
Nobody knows anything about him.
Nice credit, you know. Think they spelled his name right?
Sure, yeah. He had all the makings of a good prefect.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Alex.
Yeah. Obviously, Malfoy was the choice.
Yeah.
Obviously.
What else were they going to do?
Right. I mean, we know him to be pretty despisable, but, like, from the professors at the school's perspective, like, he doesn't get into a lot of trouble.
Not as much as Harry Potter.
Exactly. So, yeah. That's that.
Yeah. And, okay. So, the other thing you take into consideration is, I think, are prefects chosen by the head of house?
I have no idea.
I think they might be.
Somebody could write in and let us know for sure.
I'm pretty sure. I want to say they are. So, I mean, if Snape is the one choosing who the Slytherin prefects are,
yeah, of course,
I mean,
it's Malfoy.
Malfoy's been his golden boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Also, you know, double secret agent Snape, you know, he knows Lucius Malfoy is a Death Eater and close to Voldy, and depending on Snape's stance and all of this, which we still have yet to really discover, you know, kind of playing it close to the chest here and not wanting to upset the balance of Lucius and the Malfoys and how all that works out, you know?
Sure.
Like, the last thing he wants to do is, like, he does seem to like Draco Malfoy as a student, but then, like, part of me thinks if he's double secret agenting, like, he probably is against the Malfoys, but he can't let that be known because he still wants to think that he's in good graces with the Malfoys, so he has to do everything he can to accommodate the Malfoys. It's a whole complicated... Being a secret double agent, Matt, is a lot of work.
I suppose it would be.
Yeah. So, you know, you have to go the easiest route in order to balance everything.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for your wonderful emails. I always enjoy that. You, too, can email us, talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com. They go directly to Matt, remember, so any spoiler discussion that needs to happen is kept from me. No worries, no problems.
Got it.
Before we say goodnight, Matt, we gotta do one more thing.
Giveaway.
New giveaway. Matt, what are we going to be giving away next week?
Well, it only feels right that this week we should give away what was the main focus of one of the chapters.
Yeah.
Sorting hat.
A sorting hat. A sorting hat or the sorting hat?
I believe my lawyers have informed me I have to call it a sorting hat.
Okay. Just so there's no confusion, just need to clear that up.
Yep.
No, a really cool sorting hat replica. Again, like Matt said, like it makes sense to do it with these chapters, because who knows when we're going to see the sorting hat again. We might have to wait until next book, for all I know.
Yep.
So this will be fun. We're going to have something really easy. Really easy.
Yeah?
To win this, okay?
People like easy, I think.
People like easy. People like, like last week I asked people to draw something. I know Katie's going to be looking for homework here, and this is not going to qualify as homework. But it's going to be real easy. I can't stress that enough. But please remember to send in your email for your entry separately than your email that you want read on the show. So just shoot an email for this giveaway over to talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com. All you have to do is let us know what house you have been sorted into. Now, if you want to elaborate on that and you want to let us know what house you think you should have been sorted into or what house you would have wanted to be sorted into, go for it. Have fun with it. But basically, all we need is what house you have been sorted into.
All right.
That's all you got to do. Flood the email inbox. And we'll be giving away one of those cool sorting hat replicas next week. Next week, we got chapters 12 and 13?
You got it.
Okay. Still on the 2 chapters a week schedule. I like it. I like it a lot. Still ending in odd numbers. That makes me uncomfortable, but here we are. I look forward to next week, Matt.
Yeah.
Next week we will also be talking about our 1-year anniversary / Harry Potter celebration in 2 weeks' time, July 31st. So stay tuned for that. Till then, though, Matt, you can find me on Twitter @TheNoise with a Y. But definitely be sure to follow us collectively on Twitter @TalesFromGH. The website where you can listen to the podcast, you can check out the show notes, you can look at what's next, you can check out the giveaway winners, you can check out any links and photos that we talk about here on this show, talesfromgodricshollow.com. And remember, if you put a /054 afterwards, you'll be able to listen or check out last week's show. 55 would be this week's show.
There you go.
So on and so forth. Or, just go to the homepage and everything will take you exactly where you need to go.
That works too.
And big thank you, as always, to our headmistress, Mel B, and to everybody else that is supporting us over on Patreon that allows us to do all these cool giveaways and such. If you'd like to support us on Patreon as well, you could do so over at patreon.com/Tales from Godric's Hollow. Matt, where can people find you at?
You can always find me personally on Twitter @AsAmatterOfMatt. Otherwise, as you've mentioned, any other emails, any spoilers, any giveaway entries, anything longer that doesn't fit on Twitter, feel free to write me over at talesfromgodric's@gmail.com.
Beautiful. Remember, fill Matt's inbox. It makes our show so much more better to have you guys participating. That being
I'll
said,
be waiting for it.
yeah, you better be waiting for it, Matt. You sit there all week waiting for it.
I do.
And then
I do.
Alex just comes in willy-nilly whenever he wants, just delaying the inevitable. Until next week, friends, Muggle out.
Mischief managed.